5 years ago, the U.S. brought leaders from Israel, Morocco, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain together to sign the Abraham Accords. I'm Megan Alexander, and this is Middle East Tomorrow. Go to partners.foxnews.com/Met. Hi, I'm Megan Alexander, and this is Middle East Tomorrow. 5 years ago, the U.S. brought leaders from Israel, Morocco, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain together to sign the Abraham Accords. That historic day ignited a cross-border movement of changemakers who are joining forces to reshape the region. Join me as I uncover the stories of the people transforming the Middle East today and tomorrow. Go to partners.foxnews.com/Met.
Live from New York, it's a show that might switch over to their spring hairpiece. I just don't love this right now.
No.
It's a little early. I might switch it over.
Why does your natural hair look like a toupee?
Because I'm part skunk. It's just the way it
No,
goes.
but it's not
right
the
there.
color. It's the
I don't know.
bridge.
This is my spring. This is my fall toupee. I'm just gonna blast right.
Good
back.
to have you
Now,
back.
you know
I'm happy
everybody's
to
going
be
to think
back.
you have a toupee.
I would love that. Marv Albert, one of the best
man.
broadcasters of all time.
Don't
Oh,
out everybody.
spoiler alert.
Howard Cosell.
Me? three greats. First hour, first things first. Today, Drake headed to Denver. Is there a chance he struggles even after throwing 3 touchdowns on the best defense in the entire NFL? Some people are saying it was a historically great defense. Meanwhile, a bold prediction. Why are executives around the league kicking around the idea of Lamar Jackson to the Raiders? The Raiders. They would be good then.
Never wrong, just early.
That's right.
W.
And finally, a very special edition of the committee's tiers. Alongside Chris Broussard, I'm Kevin Wildes. Nick,
Yeah.
what's in store for the tiers? The committee was meeting deep into the night and even after our morning meeting.
Full league represented.
Love it.
Really?
Even the
Back
teams
on
that
that.
have been eliminated.
Love it.
We have, for the first time in tiers history, we have separate tiers. We have the currently playing tiers and the not playing tiers. We'll bring them both to you in 59 minutes.
Don't want to be weird, but we always do that. The eliminated tiers.
No, the eliminated are not tiers. Not broken into tiers. It's just one big group of teams.
Oh, I thought it was just 2 lines.
No, that's not what it is. Do they have names when it says that?
Eliminated.
Exactly.
We're starting with an MVP candidate versus a quarterback who has not thrown a pass all year. Drake versus Jarrett Stidham. QB coach Jordan Palmer, who has worked with Stidham, says that optimistic is an understatement, Brew, when it comes to the Broncos' backup. In fact, he's just as good as Drake Maye, ceiling-wise. Take a listen.
Really?
Well,
they know what they got there. And I think the guys on the team know what they got there. And outside of making predictions in the game, I think if Drake Maye and Jarrett Stidham both play at their best, I don't think it's much different. And I don't really see Jarrett having a floor because the 2 starts that he did have in the Raiders, we can say are irrelevant. But he shredded the he shredded the Chiefs, and then he shredded the Niners, and those are the 2 teams that played in the Super Bowl that year.
Brew, are you buying that Jarrett Stidham can keep up with Drake Maye, who might win the MVP?
Look, I respect Jordan Palmer,
It's a take.
but that statement is asinine. Asinine, period. I mean, I get it if you were to say, if Jarrett Stidham brings his A game and plays his best, and Drake, who struggled at times in these playoffs, continues to be play his C game, C plus, whatever, then it might be close. But to say that Jarrett Stidham can play as well as Drake Maye at his best, that is ridiculous. We know what Drake Maye is at his best, a top 2 MVP candidate. Is Jarrett Stidham?
Well, I haven't seen him. So
Look, he's 29 years old. He's been in the league 6 years. He's had 4 starts in those 6 years and 3 of them losses. And the games and Nick, you may have had this. I'm sure you got some type of graphic. What did he say? He cooked the Chiefs?
Well, and also the Chiefs, of course, made the Super Bowl because they make Super Bowl almost every year.
Yeah.
Then that Niners team didn't make the Super Bowl. They made it the following year. But go ahead. And but he said
in
he
those
cooked the
2 games
Chiefs.
against the Niners and the Chiefs, he had 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. Now, he did play well against the Niners.
Against the
threw for
Niners,
over
he
300
played
yards, 3 touchdowns. But he also had 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
His best game of his NFL life, he had 2 interceptions.
Also, to be fair, it was his first start. It was the first start of his NFL life, and it was a really good game. Against the Chiefs, I don't know why.
The Chiefs, he had a 76 passer rating, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
Yeah.
And that's cooking them or whatever term he used. Look, I'm not saying Drake may struggle because Denver is a great defense.
Correct.
And, you can have a bad game.
Sure.
But Jarrett Stidham, to say his A game is similar to Drake Maye's A game is ludicrous.
Well, honestly,
he wouldn't be a bench warmer if that was the case.
It would mean that the Broncos had made a grievous error all year long.
Yes.
Because, and again, I've been very complimentary of Bo Nix, how he played in that game over the weekend, because he deserved it. But if you have a guy who can play at Drake Maye's level, then maybe when you were eking out wins against the Jets and the Raiders, you would have thought about going to him. Now, context here. Jordan Palmer's always loved this guy. He's always loved him. When the Patriots drafted him, he talked about how they have basically an heir apparent to Brady, which some good-looking people with not good-looking hair pieces on TV thought the same thing when they were talking about Jarrett the Javelin Stidham 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
It also is true that if you're a backup quarterback, you are at times a prisoner of your circumstances as far as getting the opportunity. I'll give you, I think, a perfect example. Had Jordan Love not gotten hurt this year, nobody would be like, man, Malik Willis is going to be a starter for someone this year. He got hurt. Malik stepped in, and so
very fair.
There is.
But nobody's also going to come out and say, if Malik Willis plays to his best, he can match Caleb Williams. If they both are at their best.
I agree. I agree with you. I think this is obviously hyperbolic and a little ridiculous. I also think that there is the possibility that Stidham has a little more upside than your typical backup quarterback, because Sean Payton did, for one reason or another, highly prioritize him. It was his first free agent signing, and then after he didn't get to play really at all those first 2 years, played a couple starts, he then gave him 2 years, $12 million this past offseason. He's wanted him there. The one thing he does have to hang his hat on is that game against the Niners. They lose 37-34 in overtime in your first career start, and he's like, hey, I've been right here. He just hasn't had opportunities since then. But to me, KW, the way this happens, where Stidham and May play similar games on Sunday, is the route to that is not going to be Jarrett Stidham plays unbelievably in the AFC Championship game when he hasn't played a regular season game in 3 years. It's that the Broncos defense gets to Drake Maye.
Right.
And so keep up with is, maybe phrased wrong. Do I think it's on the board that Jarrett Stidham and Drake Maye have roughly equivalent games on Sunday? I do think that's on the board, because I think Drake Maye has struggled in certain areas this postseason.
He's been dropping the ball.
And so,
he's facing the best pass rusher.
Right. So, he's been sacked 10 times. He's thrown 2 picks. He's had 6 fumbles.
The 1 pick he's thrown.
One was a Hail Mary. That's fine. But fair enough. That was the football god saying.
Was it
more of those?
It was.
Yeah, it was.
He could have taken a knee.
It was end of half.
Yeah.
That's fair. So he's thrown 1 pick, had 6 fumbles, so not all of which are lost fumbles. And so you might not like this graphic about turning the ball over and fumbling in your first 2 playoff starts, but that's what it is. It's the most ever. And most interceptions and fumbles in your first 2 career playoff games. When you add to it that you're going up against now this Broncos defense that didn't make its name this season forcing turnovers, oddly, but did make its name hitting the quarterback and getting to the quarterback, that's the path for Stidham and May to have similar game grades.
Yeah.
I believe not that Stidham cooks and everyone after this game is like, man, the Broncos can trade Jarrett Stidham for a second-round pick.
Yeah, it's him playing clean. He hasn't played a lot of clean games, though.
Drake?
Stidham.
Oh, he hasn't played a lot of games.
Played, period.
Yeah.
Right, but when he has, he got 8 touchdowns, 8 picks.
Yeah.
We ran the numbers. Josh and I went into the lab. Drake on the year, 4,500 yards, 387 completions. counting the playoffs, 39 total touchdowns if you count the rushing as well, 16 and 3. Stidham, Josh, this is right? We double-checked this. 0. 0 for everything. Just a 0. I actually think I understand the theory that Drake can struggle because the Broncos defense is so excellent. That being said, the Patriots might have the better defense in this game. Regular season, the Patriots defense, who nobody really talked about, we allowed 18.8 points per game. The Broncos defense, which everyone talks about, allowed 18.3.
Remember, they played a tougher schedule.
Yeah, but I mean,
they both played very weak schedules.
Yeah, it was 32nd.
Historically,
you think? I think New England's defense is very good. I don't think it's as good as Denver's.
They're not. The rushing defense this year, the Patriots, no one talks about our rushing defense. We did allow 10 more yards per game than the Broncos defense. The pass defense of the Broncos, oh my gosh. Patrick Surtain, we did allow 6 more yards per passing game.
But hold on.
I got one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
We've been getting better with Milton Williams and Spillane back, and the Broncos have been getting worse. This playoffs, 156 passing yards per game we've averaged, 67 rushing yards, 9.5 points. How have the Broncos done? Opponents' third down percentage.
In the playoffs?
First 11 games, last 7. First 11 games, they were the best in the league. Last 7, they are 26. Josh Allen was able to convert a bunch. Trevor converted a bunch.
They also forced 4 turnovers on 5 turnovers against them. And that, hold on. This is the. I have 2 things here. One is, I will concede that of everyone on this table, you watched the Patriots the closest. You told us going into the playoffs and going into each playoff game, you think the defense might be a little overrated.
I did. I was shocked.
You thought that you think the defense. You talked about young Tyson that they can punch, but they can't take a punch.
I was dead wrong.
So, were you?
I was dead wrong.
Hold on. Were you dead wrong, or did C.J. Stroud melt down? Like, I don't know.
We've had 2 games. Herbert melted down and C.J. Stroud melted down.
Yeah, it's a very good defense. It's just not as good as Denver.
And the other thing when you're talking about the stats. The stat you left out is what made Denver a great defense and what you guys struggled at.
Right. What? The sacks.
Sacks. Getting to the opposing quarterback. You can tell me if I'm wrong. You guys weren't great at that. They were the best in the league by a lot.
Oddly, we're good at it now.
No, you've been being. I personally don't think
down offensive
being
line
good at it the
Chargers.
last 2 weeks mean. Just
And
like
then
I don't
CJ
think that this
struggled.
means all of a sudden Drake Maye is going to be the most fumblingest player in league history because of a bad 2 weeks of ball security. I don't think 2 good pass rush weeks makes you guys all of a sudden a great pass rush. I don't think you do either. And the Broncos objectively have a great pass rush. So I mean, this is your own rationale about your own defense. I
didn't think we were going to be able to easily get to Herbert and easily get to C.J. Stroud. And it was happening again and again and again. So I'm just not. Look, 30 to the Bills.
That's the Bills.
Okay, we're better than the Bills. So we have.
But you didn't have a better offense than the Bills this year, did you? Right?
No.
I don't think you scored more points per game than the Bills.
I'll check. Josh, can you check that?
28.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Bills
They
had a higher
scored more, I
range
believe.
of scoring offense.
Okay, well, 30.
Yeah.
30 to the Bills. The Chargers rested. The Chiefs scored 13. The Jags scored 34. The Packers scored 26. I'm not as afraid of this Broncos defense as everybody else is. And I thought that Drake would get more respect. Yeah, he dropped the ball a few times, but he did throw 3 touchdowns on this Texans defense that if we would have lost that game, the Texans defense was on the board of being an all-time great defense.
So can I, you keep saying that. I just want to say this. That nobody was saying that the Texans were already a historically great defense.
If they
the
won
discussion
the
we had was if they won the round they lost and this coming round and the next round, then they would have been. So I thought the Texans had an excellent defense, and I do think Drake Maye deserves credit for it. Was in that game, it felt like a lot of A's and F's. Like it was like the good plays were great, and the bad plays were turnovers or near turnovers, and he deserves credit for sticking with it. But you are using what we were saying the Texans defense had a chance to be had they beaten you guys and then won the next 2 rounds, and saying that's what the Texans defense was. They were not a historically great defense. They had an opportunity to be had they completed the run.
Because Drake Maye got in their way.
I disagree with
Stroud
that.
got
I disagree with that.
He was more.
I think the Texans. I don't think Drake Maye felt he played a great game against the Texans. I don't think you felt he played a great game against the Texans.
He threw 3 touchdowns. He threw 3 touchdowns. No other quarterback has thrown 3 touchdowns against the Texans defense.
He had
everybody
bad
else
moments,
put
but he
in the
made up for
teens.
him with big moments.
We had 21 offensive points.
I think he had the most touchdowns and the most fumbles of any player
Definitely
against the Texans
fumbling
defense
the ball
this year.
But
that's what would worry me against the Broncos. There's not a lot of paths for you guys to lose this game. You're playing a quarterback who has 4 career starts. You're a near touchdown favorite. The path for you guys to lose this game is Drake Maye strip sacks. That's what I'm saying. I think that is.
I have to say it's on the board. Josh got in my ear. Our offense slightly better than the Bills this year.
In points or
slightly.
yards?
Josh, points.
Wow.
Okay.
Matthew Stafford, ready for a matchup. Number 3 against the Seahawks, who just put on a historic performance against Brock. Fewest points allowed versus a divisional rival this century. 22 Eagles had 7 against the Giants, or kept the Giants to 7, and the Colts kept the Texans to 7. Only one problem. Last matchup versus Stafford, he threw for 457 yards. Who do you trust more here, the Rams offense or the Seahawks defense?
Well, first of all, let me say, of the units on these teams, I trust Sam Darnold the least. All right, of all of them. All right, so I will throw that out there. These two is close. I know the Rams in that Week 15 game had 500-plus yards, 37 points. They ate up this Seattle defense. But my answer is still Seattle.
Wow.
When they played in the first matchup this season, they gave Stafford some trouble. And he played fine, but they didn't light him up. He had 130 yards passing and like a 80-something passer rating. So they held him in check. But this defense, they stopped the run. They're top 10 against the run. They're top 10 against the pass. They're number 1 in points allowed. Mm-hmm. So I think that and on top of them having played great, maybe I'm skewed because of what they've done to the 49ers. We've seen them play the 49ers so often recently, and they've held them down. But also, Nick, is that the Rams their offense and Stafford aren't really playing great in this postseason. Stafford's got, I think, 3 touchdowns, a pick, 80 passer rating in the playoffs, in the 2 games, total. So he hasn't really been great. And these are 2 defenses, Carolina and Chicago, that are in the bottom half of the league defensively, and he still hasn't lit them up. And so of the 2 units, I'm not saying the Rams can't win, but of these 2 who I trust most, I think Seattle, and their defense has been playing better than the Rams offense has lately.
So I evidently think Stafford played a lot better against Carolina than you do. Against Carolina, on the road, he had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He threw 1 pick. I thought the Bears game, he didn't play great, and then they made the plays at the end. I think he had 0 touchdowns, 0 turnovers in the Bears game. But 300 yards, 3 touchdowns in the first playoff game. And my answer is the Rams offense because of Stafford. Because in each game this year, for me, it felt like against the Seahawks, Stafford played the type of game he needed to play given what Seattle was doing. Now, I know it's weird because...
You're talking about the second
matchup? In both games. So the first matchup, Sam Darnold is turning the ball over left and right. We can show you Stafford's numbers. And it seemed like Stafford's like, okay, don't turn the ball over and we're going to be fine. And again, that's not a good game. I'm not acting like that's a good game. But could he have can he have a big game against Seattle? Well, the next game, when Seattle's moving the ball, he had 450 yards and 3 touchdowns. So it's weird because there's such disparate games, Brew. Yeah. But his numbers this year against the Seahawks are kind of just his numbers for the year. Yards per attempt, about the same. Yards per game, actually higher. Completion percentage, considerably lower, but team points per game, damn near identical. Passer rating, very, very close to identical. And so I don't think Seattle is going to be able to entirely hold the Rams in check. I don't think a blowout for Seattle is, I don't think a blowout for either team, to be honest, is on the board.
Definitely
barring a
not a blowout
Darnold meltdown is the only way. But we saw a Darnold meltdown first matchup, and it wasn't a blowout there.
Right.
And so if you're asking me, if the scenario, like at its base level, if the scenario is the Seattle Seahawks are up 4 and Matt Stafford has the ball with 3 minutes left, who will I believe is going to come through? My answer is Matt Stafford. So if that's what I believe, then I trust the Rams offense more.
Fair. We're going to get to Lamar, so we're going to put a pin in this. But since 1990, this is from Kevin Patra, the number one scoring offense, 0-4 versus the number one scoring defense, if it's conference championship or Super Bowl.
Wow.
All right, bold prediction time. Jeremy Fowler compiling bold predictions, Brew, from execs, coaches, and scouts. Again, they're bold predictions, so it's always
a little out there.
Yeah, leans towards
like
the
this.
sensational. That being said, Lamar to Vegas. Let's roll the dice. Gambling reference. Fowler quoting an anonymous personnel person. It just seems like there's been some consternation there with Lamar and the Ravens, and this would be the ultimate Mark Davis move. I'm not even convinced everybody with Vegas would be on board, but it would instantly solve their quarterback problems. Okay, should Ravens consider a Lamar trade?
So here's what I think. I think trading for Lamar would
the Raiders
be.
side. Okay.
Well, you're probably not going to like either opinion I have on this. I think for the Raiders would be foolhardy because I think, as evidenced by, and I was obviously dead wrong about them, how many holes they have on the roster, and the fact that I don't look at Lamar as a guy who in 7 years is still going to be MVP caliber guy.
So you don't think next year he'll play at an MVP level?
No, I said in 7 years.
Oh.
No.
He's 7 years from now.
He's
Okay.
7 years from now, not year 7 for him.
Right.
Yeah, I think that the Raiders are not. I think if you put Patrick Mahomes fully healthy on the Raiders, they're not prepared to win a Super Bowl. You know, I don't think they are.
Right, they're not win now.
They're not win now, and I think Lamar's window is probably narrower than maybe some other people think. Mm-hmm. And obviously, he's going to be super expensive. Right. So for the Raiders, I'd rather just rebuild my number one pick.
Sure.
But if I were the Ravens, and the Raiders called me and said, we will give you Max Crosby and the number one pick, which then also gives you an extra $50 million in cap space over the next few years. The equivalent of, that's trading Lamar for the equivalent of like 5 first-round picks, because Crosby's worth 2 and the number 1 overall pick, we know from the Bryce Young trade that what it's worth. If I'm Baltimore in a bit of a reset with a new head coach, and to me, that is the type of trade that I would say, I wonder if that's not the best path to us winning another Super Bowl.
And you're drafting Mendoza?
Drafting Mendoza. Yes, I should have said that. I'm drafting Mendoza.
Yeah, right.
I have Crosby. I have all this extra cap space. And we're on the rookie quarterback scale where we can load up the rest of the team around him. And I'm not having to set a new NFL record in contract for Lamar. That would be very interesting to me.
That's been how they won their Super Bowls.
Yes.
They got 2, Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco. And they had phenomenal
teams,
and all
they
that
hadn't
around.
paid those quarterbacks.
Right. And we were talking off air yesterday, a lot of the teams that are left, Stafford's obviously getting paid. Darnold's not making a ton.
Nope.
And then you got 2 guys on their rookie contracts.
Stidham makes more than Drake right now.
Yeah.
Right. But no. As my co-host, old co-host on the Odd Couple radio show, Rob Parker would say, no way, no how. Nick, I got a superstar quarterback at 29 years old, still in his prime. Yes, last year he had some bad games. Certainly you can put those on injuries. Yeah. And the last time we saw him, when we think he was healthy against Pittsburgh, he played really well. Yep. So, and the thing is, the hardest thing to get in the league It's not the only path to victory, as we're talking about. But the hardest thing to get is a superstar quarterback. And in fact, the Ravens have never had one outside of Lamar. In their 30-year history, they've never had one. Teams of Cleveland, have they ever had one since Otto Graham? Like, it doesn't happen easily, and you've got one, and you also have a team that's built to win now. Like you said, a reset, like whoever they hire as coach, the charge is win the Super Bowl this year.
But that's because you have Lamar.
And Derrick Henry, and you still got some other veterans on that team.
Like the only other real old guy, and not the Lamar's a real old guy.
Right. Lamar's not even 30, but Kyle Hamilton, like they're ready to win. They have a win now roster, and so it's not really a reset, or it's a reset, but not a rebuild. And so and beyond that, I think Lamar will eventually win a Super Bowl, but even if he doesn't, there's a value to having an all-time great player when you're in the hunt 95% of his seasons, you're in the hunt to win the Super Bowl. You may never get over the hump, but there's still a value to having that player and being a contender. The New York Giants, who just hired the coach the Ravens fired, they are hoping to get to where the Ravens are.
I totally agree. The only kind of but I would add to it is it's not Lamar for a bunch of nameless, faceless picks. If you were to do this, you are saying, we believe in Fernando Mendoza. And I understand that's a risk,
right.
but it's the best risk you can take is pick 1-1. So you wouldn't be entering the quarterback wilderness, you don't think. You would be saying, we have our guy, and as Drake Maye or Bo Nix or Caleb Williams are showing right now, you're never too young if the team around you is good enough to compete for a Super Bowl,
year two.
Jaden in year one, and these guys in year two. So I wouldn't look at it as the Ravens are like, okay, we're targeting 2030. I would look at it as the Ravens saying, we're adding a great pass rusher. We're like, just something, and the money piece of it is not a fun topic, but it's a real one as far as the added players you can have.
But don't you think and I know we got to go, they just said, the reports are that Lamar was ready for Harbaugh to go. So they essentially chose Lamar over Harbaugh. If you were looking to rebuild or whatever, why not keep Harbaugh? And then, if you're going to trade Lamar, why not keep Harbaugh to rebuild just like the Giants?
I don't think they're going to do this, to be clear. I just think
it was a bold prediction.
Bold. Yeah. A special 4-team episode of Must Win featuring Coach Mangini, who hasn't won in weeks. He did have that one shutout, I should say.
His last appearance was nice.
That's next on Fox Sports Channel and Sirius XM.
He came with.
8-0 shutout.
Yeah.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. Finding a home is like dating. You're not just looking for a place to live, you're searching for the one. That's where Realtor.com comes in. Like any good matchmaker, they know exactly where to look. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, you could find your perfect match today. Ranch style with a pool, barn dominium with an in-law suite? Realtor.com's got 'em. Modern craftsman with a big yard and a treehouse out back? Realtor.com will have you saying, yep, that's the one. No more swiping. It's time to start finding. Download the Realtor.com app today, cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pros #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
Podcast up to #1 in the world, and we are 11 million views away from 1 billion views. Gianna's job is safe. Congratulations.
It's not safe yet.
Yeah, it is. Trust me.
We need 11.4 million before kickoff at Super Bowl.
You're looking good.
It's not safe.
It is.
She's going to
look
walk
at her
that
lounging.
She has 17 days for us to get 11.4 million views, or she's out of a job. Everybody.
Time for a conference championship version of Must Win. This is team specific. We're doing 4, so you will be penalized if you're dilly-dallying.
Nice.
Patriots at Broncos Sunday. Wasting time. Okay. Patriots trying to complete an epic turnaround. Only 4 teams have gone from 4 or fewer wins to what Pringles calls the big game. Which Patriot? Oh, I'm sorry, Coach. I'll ask you the question. Then which Patriot is this a must-win for? Since Greg won last week and you won the week before, the board is yours. You can pass or play.
So if I pass, will I have the last?
If you pass it to Nick, you would have it last, but you have to do.
No, you wouldn't know because there's 4 of them.
Still have the
Four,
last
so you would be.
So if I pass, then I
You
would
should have
the
figured this
last.
out beforehand.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to play.
That's a little
All right.
dilly dally.
That's a clarifying question. That's a very important thing. I'm going to say this is a must-win for Robert Kraft.
Oh.
And here's why. So Robert Kraft is in a really unique situation. He went to a Super Bowl with Bill Parcells, so that was pre-Belichick, pre-Brady. Then they had the epic run with Bill and Tom, and that is remarkable in itself. So now here he is, after no Tom, no Bill, and he's got a chance to go to another AFC Championship game with his third, or another Super Bowl with his third head coach and new quarterback. And think about how many owners have been able to do that. And just think about the Dallas Cowboys, how they've been chasing just getting back to the game. So to me, this changes the equation for Mr. Kraft because it establishes him as a very unique owner versus the rest of his peer group.
If I can just add to that, Coach, also, he's nominated and they're voting on his Hall of Fame candidacy at the day before the Super Bowl when the Hall of Fame stuff is announced. So that is a very good point. However, listen, I'm just trying to help you out. Just add something there. I'm just a little surprised you didn't bring it up yourself.
How that works.
The answer is Drake Maye. He's been shaky, and Drake Maye was on a reputational free roll. The only scenario where he, in his second year on the road in the AFC Championship game, could be in a position where if they don't win, it is a massive disappointment, is the exact scenario he found himself in, which is the other team's quarterback breaks a bone at the very end of the previous game to where we don't even see the backup, and now we look at it as, well, the Patriots have to win. They're a touchdown favorite. And I think most of us, Jordan Palmer notwithstanding, feel like if we are here Monday talking about a Patriots loss, it's not going to be because Jarrett Stidham lit up the Pats defense. It's going to be because the Broncos defense and that crowd and the noise and all of it got to Drake Maye and he turned the ball over and that he would have to wear it. So It's a very unique situation, but where the must-win is for the Patriots quarterback.
Nick is right, but he went dark. I'm going light. All right?
Sure.
If Drake Maye wins this game and gets to the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl, he's a made man.
Well, yeah.
He is a made man. The rest of his career, obviously, there's pressure because you want to continue to play well, continue to win. But he is relatively pressure-free. Aaron Rodgers had played 15 years after winning his Super Bowl, never got back to the Super Bowl, and he's all right. Because once you get that first Super Bowl, well, not for that.
Big moments get
not for that. He gets criticized for all his off the court field comments.
An excellent answer. Felt like that's a week early.
Yeah.
Just felt like it's a week early. Coach takes home the point.
Dark.
It's okay. It was good though.
And enlightened. Dark.
Other side of the ball,
enlightened.
Broncos posting home playoff game number 2 this year, where they've been outstanding. 14-1 in their last 15 games. Only loss was to the Prince. Nick, that's your guy. Who's this a must-win for on the Denver side?
Vance Joseph, get a head coaching job.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know if you guys heard a very cartoonish at times Bills press conference today with the owner and the GM. But one of the things they said is, we're going to take our time. Some of the people we want to talk to might still be coaching teams this coming weekend. Vance Joseph has been a head coach before. It was for the Denver Broncos. He loses that job. Sean Payton then adds, he's the defensive coordinator for the Broncos, if people don't know. Sean Payton then brings him in. Third game of his tenure, Dolphins score 70 points. Yeah, reinventing football. People wanted Vance Joseph maybe have the quickest tenure of a D coordinator ever, less than a month. Now it's the strength of their team after last year being the strength of their team and his name popping up for interviews for head coaching jobs. Again, the Broncos' path to victory is that defense being dominant after a little shaky game 2 as far as points allowed. If they win this game, I think he's a head coach in the league next year.
Great point.
A little long-winded.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Patrick Surtain. Here's why. He is a great cornerback. Defensive Player of the Year a year ago. Two all-pro teams already. But of the top 10 defensive back or cornerbacks ever, all right, according to FoxSports.com, 8 of them have won Super Bowls.
Really?
Yes. So to get his name in that group, which I think, has an argument, and he's certainly building one, he needs a Super Bowl.
Excellent.
And so, Patrick Surtain.
Excellent.
Again, it might be
and
a
no
week early.
extra stuff either.
Might be a week
No
early.
extra
Yeah.
stuff.
Because again, winning this week is not.
Again.
Does he think this is the Super Bowl? This broke confused.
Huge party plan for
Yeah.
Sunday.
And you guys are awesome. You've both made fantastic points about how good Denver's defense is. And we know that's the strength of the team. That's why it's a must-win for Sean Payton. So Sean Payton goes there, and he gets rid of Russell Wilson. He moves on, and he's in salary cap jail for, however long it's been. And then he drafts Bo Nix, and nobody believes that's going to work. Not nobody, but he believed it more than anybody, and he made it work. So now we fast forward to where we are today, and Sean's won a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 other NFC Championship games, but now we're in the AFC Championship game, and his quarterback is hurt. And the guy that he brought in day 1 free agency is his starter. And this problem is the problem that can be fixed by only one person, the person with the specialty of quarterbacks and offensive football, which is Sean Payton, who has a wonderful defense.
Wow. Believe it or not, going with Brew there.
What?
Thank you.
It was a little early, but I kind of liked it.
Exactly.
Wow,
Thank you,
that
Wilds.
Head to Seattle. Sean McVay a win away from his
Y'all
third
can be
Super Bowl
confused all you want.
as he tries to make it by winning 3 road games. Good news. If he wins this one, and a lot of people say this stat's a little bit early, you end up winning the Super Bowl unless you're Steve Grogan in the 1985 Patriots. Brew, this is yours now. Which Ram is this in?
Let's not make it too complicated. Matthew Stafford, all right? Even getting to another Super Bowl, all right? 2 Super Bowl appearances, let alone victories, in 5 years with the Rams, all right? We know who is a good head coach, offensive play caller, and probably an MVP, Hall of Famer, I think there's no doubt. All right, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and the what-if game would start. What if he had not spent 16 years or whatever it was in Detroit? How many Super Bowls would he have? What if he had always had a guy like McVay, like Brady had in Josh McDaniels? What would have happened then? So the what-if game starts for Matthew Stafford. His legacy takes a huge bump if he wins this game.
Yeah, Brew, I'm with you on Matthew Stafford, but for a little bit different reason. So for years, coached against Matthew Stafford, and he was awesome. And traditionally, when you draft a quarterback of his caliber, he's able to elevate organizations, even the most dysfunctional organizations. And I could never figure out why it didn't work in Detroit. And so I didn't think it's coaching. Well, he had multiple coaches when he's been there. Now he goes out to the Rams. He wins the Super Bowl. This year he's got the chance to be the MVP and potentially go to another Super Bowl. And it shows the league how important it's not just the quarterback, but it's a synergy between the quarterback, the head coach, and the organization.
Those are all good answers. Unfortunately, I have the best answer, even though I'm going to say a name, KW, of someone who you've never heard of, but you're about to.
Okay, great.
This is a must-win for Ben Katwika. You might be like, hey, Nick, who's that?
Well, maybe you could pronounce his name correctly.
Oh, that's a definite
Go ahead, Coach.
negative mark.
Ben Katwika?
I'm sorry, Katwika, pardon me.
Should we keep
Hold on,
going?
I have to talk about this gentleman for a moment.
Yes, go ahead.
U.S. Army captain, helicopter pilot, piloted in Bosnia and Iraq. After his service to the country, he's like, you know what? Real passion at Army? Football.
Great.
Got into coaching. Got on Sean McVay's staff. He's assistant special teams coordinator. Not a super high-level job, but still. And then what happened the last time the Seahawks played the Rams? This play changed the game. And what did Sean McVay do after that? the very rare for him, special teams coordinator Chase Blackburn. You're out.
Yep.
Mid-year firing, which McVay hates to do. Ben Kotwicka takes over interim special teams coordinator. Feels like if we get special teams locked up, we're going back to the Super Bowl. Everybody knows his name now. It's obviously the winning answer.
You're going to split the point.
Why? Because I mispronounced it?
Well, but you also got roasted on air. So,
Well, can I also just say that Ben Kotwicka is the guy that I hired at the New York Jets.
What's the whole point?
Hold on a second. He was coaching JV football at West Point. I hired him, gave him his first job. We went to Afghanistan together on a USO tour. He flew Black Hawk helicopters.
I said all this. I just didn't hire.
He flew Black Hawk helicopters.
Hawk.
Unbelievable guy. Thank you for your service, Ben Kotwicka. You're doing a great job.
I didn't know any of this.
And
because of my deep research, I got this story on the air.
Point.
Excellent job, Coach. You still will split the point. But that was amazing. I think I'm rooting for him now.
He is a great guy.
Final one. This is worth triple the points. Sean McVay. No, I already did Sean McVay.
Okay, dock yourself.
-1 for me. So now this is worth 2 points. What do you think of when you think of Seattle? Men throwing halibut and balanced football. Top 2 offenses and defense in the last 30 years. The Seahawks team, the 07 Patriots, the Colts, 2 Colts teams, and the 96 Packers. Okay, which Seahawk is this a must-win for?
I'm up.
Yeah, you're up.
You can win it.
It is John Schneider. John Schneider has a chance he has a chance to solidify himself in terms of an exclusive GM club. Because remember, he makes the trades out Russell Wilson, gets all those draft picks, 2 1s, 2 2s, a 5. So he does that. Okay, so after he does that, he brings in Geno Smith. They go to the playoffs. Nobody thought Geno Smith could play. They go to the playoffs with Geno Smith. They don't love it, and Pete goes 9-8. So Pete Carroll at 9-8, he moves on from him. He goes and gets a first-time head coach, brings him in, then is willing to sign Sam Darnold to a $100 million contract after 1 year of success. Sam Darnold now has a chance to totally redeem his career by going to the Super Bowl.
Is this must win or John Schneider's wiki?
Well, I'm just saying.
Because the answer is Sam Darnold, and we all know it. And Brew's upset that he has to go last, and now he's thinking. He's like, do I pivot and say someone else like Kenneth Walker, or do I just say Nick's right but for the wrong reasons? Because everyone knows it's Darnold. Darnold wins this game. No one can say he's going to go pumpkin mode anymore. He's a Super Bowl starting quarterback, former top 5 pick.
What if he goes pumpkin in the Super Bowl?
Well, again, we're not at the Super Bowl, buddy.
We're
right here. You get a trophy for this game. He would have won the conference championship. The Seahawks going through the guy who is likely to win MVP in Matt Stafford, doing it at home. It's obviously Sam Darnold. It's a total reputation.
John Schneider and Sam Darnold are off the board.
Nick forgot something. He's right about the trophy and the NFC.
Are you doing Sam Darnold? Please don't say you're doing Sam Darnold.
Well, the obvious answer is Sam Darnold, but here's why. Here's why.
Can't do that.
Bragging rights, Wiles.
Bragging rights?
Yes. The 3 quarterbacks he has been behind that he was jettisoned for. Baker Mayfield. Has he been this far? No. Brock Purdy. I get it. He has been to a Super Bowl, but Sam Darnold was backing him up. Now your backup beat you in the playoffs and is going to make the Super Bowl. And then J.J. McCarthy. They could have went and got Sam Darnold. They didn't want him. They didn't want him. They could have signed Sam Darnold. They chose J.J. McCarthy over. How's that looking like?
I don't know.
Because now every time Sam sees them in the offseason on the beach, wherever they're at, he has bragging rights.
Purdy walked off the field.
It's old news.
Three-peat.
For doing a John Schneider biography?
What?
Where'd he go to college?
He's on fire. We're in a wonderful night. Next.
Unbelievable.
Just tearing up the playoffs.
Oh, my goodness. They're dominating the whole show.
Coach did go to the lab a few weeks ago.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. If you're hearing me, I'm going to assume you're awake. And if you aren't, because while you're snoozing, someone else might be finding your dream home. That's where Realtor.com comes in. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, that's a lot of chances to find the place you've been dreaming of. Whether you're searching for a 2-story mid-century with a pool or a little extra space with a spa-inspired bathroom, Realtor.com can help you find it today. So quit hitting that snooze button. Realtor.com isn't sleeping on finding your dream home, and neither should you. Download the Realtor.com app today, 'cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pro's #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
Baker Mayfield not rolling out the red carpet to welcome his former coach Kevin Stefanski to the NFC South. Baker responding to a tweet saying that he failed in Cleveland. Here was his response. Failed is quite the reach there, pal. Great use of the word pal. Still waiting on a text/call from him, Stefanski, after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Wow. Can't wait to see you twice a year, Coach. Coach, your reaction?
I saw it's like Baker being Baker, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And I don't love it.
You don't love Baker's response?
Well, look, I don't.
Coach, you did it wrong. You're supposed to be like, I don't like it. I loved it. Because it was awesome.
I find it hard to believe that Kevin was solely responsible for shipping Baker off, just like he was not solely responsible for getting Deshaun, and he probably wasn't solely responsible for getting Shador, or Johnny Manziel was before him. I'm sure he wasn't responsible for that either in Cleveland. So that's to put it all on Kevin, I think is unfair. However, I would imagine Kevin probably would have rather have texted him in retrospect or called him. Sometimes you go through a learning curve with events like that where you could have handled it a lot better. And I think Joe Thomas came out today and said, and kind of presented the other side of it, to where Baker could have also reached out to Kevin and said the same, kept the communication going. So
yeah, but I have a ton of respect for Joe Thomas.
I didn't write the article or interview the guy. I'm just telling you what he said.
Yeah, no, Joe Thomas said phones work two ways, but this wasn't a mutual parting of ways.
Right.
This was one guy got your, and listen.
Joe was his teammate and an All-Pro.
Listen,
Coach, you got shipped off like a piece of garbage.
It's the NFL. Get over it. We all get shipped off like
he has to call him, doesn't he? You got to call him.
Well, it's surprising that there wasn't communication. That really is surprising that they didn't communicate in that time period.
I mean, because look, I don't know what their relationship was like. It was probably frosty, but
doesn't sound like it was great.
Right. I doubt, though, it was terrible, because Baker, I don't think he'd still be upset, or the first thing he says is the call. He seems like he was expecting a call, and if Stefanski just clearly hated him and didn't like him, he probably wouldn't have expected a call. So I like Stefanski, but you just have to call a guy in that situation. I also think, look, Baker wasn't really bad in Cleveland. I mean, they've had one playoff win since they went back in 1999, and he got it, and his best years weren't really under Stefanski, but still.
If they kept him, they probably would have been in the mix every year in the playoffs.
Absolutely. So I think Baker, look, it'll be great theater next year when they're playing all the time, but I agree with you. That was a mistake, bottom line, by the Cleveland Browns. Huge mistake.
So I totally agree with you, Coach, in that a lot of things that happen with the Browns, we have an idea, or I'm going to speak for myself here, not you. The owner's meddling and screws things up, and then the GM and head coach in varying ways have to eat it and take it. Okay. And I think that has made that job a very difficult job for a very long time. I think that can be true. And that's why this graphic of Baker, of the quarterback since the Browns, that you can be an offensive mastermind head coach, oversee that, and still be unemployed for 3 weeks before you get your next head coaching job, because people don't put that on Stefanski. And I think that they're like, the owner wanted Deshaun Watson, the owner wanted this stuff, you made the most of it you could. That part's fair. The things that you certainly can put on Kevin Stefanski are what I consider some of the softer touches that I have seen from afar, I think in his next job he needs to be better at. Yeah. I didn't think it was a slight at Shedeur specifically when he didn't give him a game ball after his first career win, because he also didn't do it for Dylan Gabriel. But the answer to that is probably, if you got a rookie quarterback who's a mid-round pick, whether it's Gabriel or Shedeur, build him up a little bit. Some of the press conference stuff. And this, nobody likes having to make these types of phone calls. Nobody likes if someone
It's a text.
Whatever it is. No, but my point is, but part of being a leader and an adult is calling and being on the receiving end of somebody's anger or whatever it is and letting them vent. And so that's areas that I think is fair criticism.
Can I just also say, like, as you go into this job, there's no like manual on how to do it. And so you make a lot of mistakes. And as an executive making a lot of mistakes, that happens all across the country all the time, but it's not being analyzed, constantly 24 hours a day. So yeah, look, I've made a ton of mistakes in relationships that I wish I could have back, but that's part of the learning curve, and I'm sure this is one that Kevin would like to have back.
Before we go, Coach, I'll ask you. Baker says he is still waiting on the text. If you were Kevin Stefanski, would you text Baker today?
I don't know, because Baker will probably put it on Twitter the second I text him. Like, if I could have I would.
Emoji.
I would not want that to be the way the relationship.
But also,
it should be a call too.
No.
The other story is chip on his shoulder. Baker officially back.
I like that.
He's coming off a tough year.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he
Cubs love that thing.
Oh, such a clutch off-season pickup, Dave.
I was worried we'd bring back the same team.
I meant those blackout motorized shades.
Blinds.com made it crazy affordable to replace our old blinds.
Hard to install?
No, it's easy. I installed these and then got some for my mom. She talked to a design consultant for free and scheduled a professional measure and install.
Hall of Fame son.
They're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings in the world.
Blinds.com is the GOAT.
Visit Blinds.com now for up to 50% off with minimum purchase plus a free professional measure. Rules and restrictions apply.
Live from New York, it's the show that wants to change the rules to make LeBron an all-star.
No, just keep the rules the way they've always been.
You wanted a special addendum.
Well, once upon a time we were a civilized country. And when Michael Jordan was an active player, even when he wasn't that good on the Wizards,
he actually was pretty good.
I know, but I'm saying, but he wasn't.
He was a legit all-star that year. Like his 22 points, 6 boards. He wasn't playing as well as LeBron.
Or Kobe in his final year. Yeah. It's Kobe Bryant. Should be an all-star. He might be an all-star. LeBron James might not be an all-star despite playing at a higher level than either of those guys in their final year. And I'm just saying there's an easy
need to vote LeBron in.
Yeah, he obviously has to be an all-star. It's LeBron
Yes,
James.
the coaches do. What coach is not voting for LeBron?
It's going to be interesting.
Michael Malone wouldn't, but he's not.
It's going to be interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Second
I
hour
hope he's there for sure.
Today, what are Mike McDaniel and Justin Herbert going to look like for the Chargers if it happens? We're on the verge. Meanwhile, is Drake Maye going to struggle in Denver? Why one former Patriots coach is hurting my feelings. But right now, get you caught up to speed. Last night, while wearing and drinking scotch and soda, an exceptional committee of analysts, statisticians, and fans of Trivial Pursuits fought and toiled and burned the midnight oil to deliver the best segment in all sports. It's an honor and a privilege. It's time for a special conference championship edition of Nick's Tears.
Indeed it is, Kevin Wild. So, thank you for the great introduction as always. Let's get right to it. 4 teams left. Conference championship tiers. Show me the first row of the conference championship tiers, please. I think. Bronze medal game. Sorry, KW. But that's the bronze medal game because the real Super Bowl is Sunday evening on Fox.
I mean, I'm a pro Fox guy.
You can show the real Super Bowl.
Well, we got it.
They hadn't revealed it. This is how Cowboys-Niners in 1994 felt. It's like, okay, I guess the winner's going to play the Chargers. Some of the Super Bowls taking place. How Patriots-Colts in 2006 felt. And for me, it was like the winner's going to play the Bears, but we know the Super Bowl is being played right now. And it's how
I wonder if the Patriots have ever been underdogs in the Super Bowl before. 14-point dogs?
Again, Tom Brady ain't walking through that door. However, Because KW, there's only 4 teams, it would be very brief tiers.
Yeah, we'd have to go right to break.
It would just be over. Special edition. Eliminated teams tiers.
Love it.
28 teams.
Love it.
Now,
So this is kind of projecting for next season?
rich tapestry, bro.
Yeah,
It's a
kinda
lot
currently-
going on here.
I think so.
It's a little projection, a little, you just got a coach.
I like that.
A little, all of the above. Bottom of the tiers, 28 teams. Arch watch. Again,
Already.
I know the Dolphins, the Browns, the Cardinals, and the Jets go into next year without a quarterback and don't think they're going to be able to draft one with their pick this year. So they're on Arch watch. It is what it is. And that assumes Kyler's gone because Kyler's gone. It assumes Tua's gone because Tua's gone. And sorry, Brew, I don't think Shadour's going to be the guy. We'll see. And the Jets literally don't have a guy. So
Yep.
Arch watch.
Tough one.
Not at the floor. Saints, Titans, Steelers. So I think these 3 teams the Saints and Titans, let me start with them, have an opportunity to potentially build on what they did at the end of last year. The Titans, Cam was playing his best. The Saints, Tyler Shuck was started to play decent. You saw them building certain things. The Steelers, on the other hand, are in a different boat where they won the division, got to the playoffs, but now they're going to be without Mike Tomlin. And those teams, I don't think any of those teams are going to bottom out and be on, first overall pick watch. Mm-hmm. But I also don't think any of those teams are realistically next season going to be playoff teams. Whatever. I don't know what to say about these 4 teams. It's very, very. The Falcons, Stefanski still doesn't have a quarterback. The Vikings. If I were the Vikings,
yes.
I would maybe. What
I
am
like
I
it
going to
already.
say? I don't think you know what I'm going to say. I'd call the Bills and be like, hey, what do you want to give us for Kevin O'Connell?
Oh.
You want to give us a first and a third round pick for Kevin O'Connell? Because
I like that.
We need some draft capital because we still don't have the quarterback. What do you think I was going to say?
Justin Jefferson.
No, I want to keep Justin.
Wow.
I want to keep Hall of Fame players in their prime. I typically want to keep them. But and if you're the Bills, I don't know what you're doing. Regardless, Panthers, you made a playoff game, and I'm proud of you for it. I don't think that team's all of a sudden poised. And the Colts went all in on the end of this year. Their quarterback popped his Achilles. They traded their first-round pick for Sauce Gardner. Just are where they are. I can't quit one of these teams. Maybe, just maybe, Raiders-Giants. Raiders number 1 overall pick, and a new head coach. Maybe, and maybe it's
Lamar,
and maybe you trade the number 1 pick and Max Crosby for Lamar. The Giants are going to be everybody's worst of first team. Everybody's calling it right now. They're going to be the worst of first team. I like John Harbaugh. I like that press conference. I didn't so much like Joe Shane being like, me reporting to Harbaugh, it's just words on paper. Like, yeah, bro, but it's the paper is the contract and the words are the office flowchart, pal. But still, I like Harbaugh going there. I hate to do this to these 2 coaches. Sorry, coach, because I like them both. But they do start the year on the hot seat. Todd Bowles in Tampa and Dan Quinn in Washington.
Already?
I think, yeah, I mean, Todd.
Quinn seems.
Again, Quinn, I don't think they have to get back to the conference championship game, but they can't have a disaster year. You can't have back-to-back disaster years with Jaden Daniels. I don't think he would survive that. And Todd Bowles probably has the hottest seat of any returning coach because it felt like this year they collapsed at the end and they just have been, consistently fine since Bowles has taken over. They'd won the division a bunch of years in a row and they collapsed this year. More of the same. Bengals, Cowboys. Listen, the offenses are going to be really good. The defenses are going to be mediocre. Again, we'll see what the offseason plays out. It's January, so they haven't had an opportunity to change a lot. But my gut tells me it's going to be more of the same of what these 2 teams have been. They didn't make any major. Cowboys changed in defensive coordinator, so that could change things. The Bengals just running it all back. Sorry, Danny. Tough quarterback conversations. Because, listen, C.J. Stroud, I don't think he's getting a contract extension, but he is going to be the Texans quarterback next year. Justin Herbert is obviously the Chargers quarterback for the foreseeable future. But there has been a lot of resources poured into these teams because they feel like they can win right now. And the defenses for both these teams are like, we can win right now. And CJ's just had down years. Justin's obviously just had brutal playoff games. But it is an odd spot where the faces of your franchises this year in the playoffs for both of them were the impediment to your franchise moving forward. Did they peak? Eagles-Niners. Now, the Eagles, if they did, at least you won a Super Bowl out of it, so there's no shame in that whatsoever. But the Eagles feel like we're in contention every year. But is the second half of the 2020s going to be nearly as kind to these two teams who were kind of the dominant teams of the conference?
Right.
Or is it going to be as good as the first half of the 2020s? My gut tells me no. My gut tells me the Niners going to 4 NFC championship games, 2 Super Bowls, being that close. As much respect as I have for Shanahan, I don't think they're going to be able to duplicate that. And I think the Eagles are on the downward slope. Hope for health, Lions-Packers. Right or wrong, both of these teams feel like this year got ruined by injury. The Lions once again dealt with the defensive injuries, not quite to the same extent as last year. Obviously, the coordinator changes. The Packers legitimately had 9-3-1, and then Micah goes down. Speaking of health, get healthy, Patrick. Don't know what to do with the Chiefs. Don't know where we can put the Chiefs until we know when is Patrick Mahomes coming back. If Patrick Mahomes is coming back in week 1, and they bring back Eric Bieniemy, which they did, and they have a top 10 overall pick, this team can be right back where their right place, atop the AFC, obviously. If Patrick Mahomes back in week 6 or 7, things change entirely. The B in SBOB. We always say, it's not Super Bowl, a bust. What is bust? Well, it was, because the bust was fired the coach. And for the first time in 50 years in the NFL, a team with an MVP quarterback in their 30s just outright fired their longtime head coach because they felt like the team needed that type of change. And last but not least, KW, you should like this. Atop the eliminated tiers, the Bears and the Jags. Nothing but great vibes. These two teams go into the offseason feeling exceptional. We got the quarterback right. We got the coach right. We overachieved this season. Both seasons ended on, I'd love that back interceptions by the quarterback, but the quarterbacks themselves are like, this was my best year of my career by far. Obviously, Caleb's career much shorter. And they go into this offseason feeling for the Bears, got some money to spend, for the Jags, getting Travis Hunter back, year 2 under a coach. Those are the offseason tiers, coach. Not the offseason, the eliminated tiers, pardon me.
Yeah, look, I love the offseason tiers. I loved yesterday's Mahomes Mountain. I think you're really upping your game here in the postseason. These are back-to-back really good days.
I think there's a but coming.
No, they're really, I mean, I don't agree with a lot of it, but I love the innovation. And I did call that you'd have the Bengals on the same tier as the Cowboys prior to actually seeing the unveiling of it, because I'm sure it's
great minds.
Lots of offense, but not enough defense. But I'm gonna bump up the Bengals, and here's why. So the Bengals right now have the 8th most salary cap space with $56 million. They've got the 10th pick in the draft, and they've got 8 other draft picks. They're the only team in the division with continuity, so that should give them advantage. So I get that. You know, the having Lamar Jackson, you know, that's still a problem. But whoever that coach comes in, there's going to be a lot of transition and a learning curve. So Cincinnati has a huge advantage over everybody else in the conference. In terms of running it back, yeah, they're running it back in a good way because they've got all their offensive stars under contract. There's no contract disputes. So that money's been allocated. Now here's the issue. We've got to fix the defense. So offensively, right now, they have $170 million allocated to offensive players, and they have $70 million allocated to defensive players on the whole roster. The receivers alone make $61 million next year. So the whole defense makes $70 million, and the receivers make $61. So you got to take that $56 million, pour it into the defense. You've got to take those 8 draft picks and pour it in the defense and do everything you possibly can. This defense doesn't have to be top 10, but it's got to be it's got to be even
better.
marginally better. To me, I think puts them in a place where they can make the playoffs, and then if they make the playoffs with those stars and Joe Burrow, they've got a shot.
So, I like that. I like it too, Coach, and I think that's probably the right strategy.
Will they do it?
Unfortunately, you're not running the Bengals. Duke Tobin and Mike Brown are running the Bengals, and they saw emo Joe Burrow talk about losing his love for the game. So my guess is they pour those resources into his offensive line and a running back. I think that they could do more things on that side of the ball. I agree with and if they do what you said, they will move up. I just don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as a projection, the tiers, all right, because I see how high the Chiefs and Ravens are after down years. So I'm thinking this is okay. This is looking into next year.
Rich tapestry.
And because of that, Nick, I got to move your Jags down. I like the title. The titles are always great. Marshall, he's a good. But the Jags are too high.
Hold on, bro.
Next year, the Jags will not be playing the third place schedule they played this year. They'll be playing a first place schedule. And I like Trevor. He was 5th on Bruce ballot for MVP, but he was a little down in the playoffs. I know he wasn't terrible.
He had back-to-back go-ahead fourth-quarter touchdown drive.
He did what you hate.
I didn't like the pick.
He did what you hate. Trying to win go-ahead drive, coach, game-winning drive, and he ends it with a pick early.
I don't hate it as much as are you positive. I don't love that.
That's Dusty. This is the first time I've even seen that. Positive. What?
Like positive.
So yeah. Move the Jags down. I just have questions now about has Trevor really arrived? Great at the end of the season.
He just finished 5th in it because of one pass?
Yes, that's all it takes.
I'm with
and
you,
he actually had 2 picks.
Really?
He's got both.
No,
those teams too high.
Yeah,
both those.
Well,
the Bears are interesting, but the Jags, I'm definitely moving them down.
Really? But how are they?
And we just saw Baker have a breakout year, and then fell off this season. So the same could happen to Trevor, your boy the Prince.
You're not going to like it.
It's all right because you dumped him.
I never. We didn't dare you.
I'm moving the Chargers up.
Why?
Because Danny Parkins
is annoying.
There's a difference between excuses and explanations.
Yeah, and he's
a lot of
excuses.
I know, but I'm not.
Hey, buddy.
The explanation is because Slater and Joe Alt weren't there. Now, Danny also piles on a lot of other excuses. I'm just talking about the explanation. When they're both there, 10-5.
That's 2 years ago.
Well, that's the only data we have.
They were there for the playoff game when he threw 4 picks.
That was an aberration. Also, you got the 22nd pick. You go in, you get Caden Proctor from Alabama. He'll be there.
What are you doing on my mock draft quarter? You talking about who's going to be available at the 22nd pick?
I didn't use it.
What are you doing?
I'm out there. I'm doing my own stuff. Looking at,
Caden Proctor from Alabama.
Yeah,
you're doing
Roll Tide.
Interior offensive lineman
yes,
scouting.
You can't have it. You can't. I like Alabama. Okay. Mike McDaniel, are you actually going to go? We think.
Yeah.
He might get the Ravens head job. If he doesn't, he's going to go to the Chargers. Guess what? I like Mike McDaniel. In fact, I don't like it. I love it.
Since when?
Since I loved Tua and had the Dolphins going to the Super Bowl.
You make fun of Mike McDaniel.
No, I didn't. He's done some odd press conferences. I have no issues with his play calling.
How does this graphic back up?
I don't understand this
Look at
graphic.
2023.
You're saying.
Second in points, 1 in yards. That's what I like.
Okay, what about the next 2 years?
That's not his fault.
What?
Really?
Why not?
He's shown
quarterback was there.
Okay.
I love him as an OC. Love him with Herbert. He's going to do fun stuff. Chargers should go up.
I do agree with that, though.
How did you not have Kansas City?
You got there strangely.
Kansas City. What is
but
Kansas City done?
I like the Chargers.
Continuity. Great quarterback. Added a good piece back to the offensive staff.
He lost his favorite guy and best friend.
Oh, really? You have breaking news? Because I saw Travis Kelce talking about how excited he is to have Eric Bieniemy back in the building.
Wow, you have breaking news? He's coming back?
He said it publicly. He just said that publicly. I don't know.
Breaking news, Travis Kelce.
I'm not saying that, but you said he lost someone. I didn't know. Was there something I didn't know?
There's something I didn't know. There's something I didn't know.
I know. The status quo. We'll see. He has had Travis Kelce announce his retirement to be factored in.
Well, if he has announced he's coming back?
No, it's
That's what I'm saying.
No, that's not what
you got him below 2 teams that don't have a coach, and you've got a Hall of Fame coach.
Guys, again, I know it says Nick's tiers.
There's a committee.
There's a committee.
It's a committee.
I obviously believe the Chiefs go into next year. Patrick's going to be dancing at Travis's wedding. He's going to be healthy week 1. They're going to be back to their rightful place atop the AFC. The committee is very, they don't trust ACL and LCL repair the way I do. I like the fact that Patrick had the surgery within 12 hours of the injury.
Yes.
One of our committee members, I haven't told you guys this, retired orthopedic surgeon. Oh. And his voice counts a little heavier when we talk about injury rehab, and he thinks I'm a little too optimistic about it.
Oh, man.
Does anybody want to hear about him because of HIPAA?
Oh,
Very smart. Good job.
Does anybody want to hear about the Chargers schedule?
Do you have more Chargers?
I didn't realize it.
I didn't realize.
It doesn't help my point.
I didn't realize there was more coming.
No, let's hear it.
Tougher schedule.
It's a very hard schedule.
Yeah, we know.
On the road, Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, obviously. Bills, Dolphins, Rams, Seahawks, Ravens, Bucks, because all the good teams finished in second. Then at home, Patriots, Jets, easy W. Cardinals, 49ers, Texans.
Luckily, we're doing Chargers next block.
Phew.
Talk more
Let's
about
make the
this
schedule. People love talking about, not even the schedule, just opponents.
Yeah.
Will Herbie be a top 5? No. That's
Herbie fully loaded.
I didn't do that.
Our staff's drunk today, man. Did you see the bug we're about to use?
The bug? Sunday on Fox. Trip to Super Bowl 60 on the line. Some people are saying this is
the Super Bowl. That's correct.
Rams, Seahawks,
That's crazy.
Sunday
Fox
at
has Super
6.
Bowl in back-to-back years.
It's fantastic. Only on Fox. Welcome back to the show. Mike McDaniel eyeing the Chargers offensive coordinator job if he doesn't land a head coaching job. We think the Ravens are still in play. If he doesn't get it, he's going to go to L.A. What do you, Nick, you don't love this?
No, I like Mike McDaniel, but if the question is, what you were supposed to ask what this means for Herbert.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert is obviously incredibly physically gifted. He has good pedigree, he has good size, he has amazing arm talent, all of those things. I also think the following 2 statements are not opinion, they are just objective truth. Mm-hmm. Statement 1, he has played his worst football in his biggest spots, most notably his 3 playoff games, the last 2, which were, for different reasons, historically bad games. And the other one, I guess, is a little opinion, but I think the numbers back it up. He does not appear to have improved, and in fact, he might have gone a little bit in the other direction since his second year. So much of Justin Herbert is this guaranteed superstar is based on his first year, he set the record for touchdown passes as a rookie, and his second year threw for 5,000 yards. It's like, oh my God. And those first 2 years, he averages 4,600 yards, 7.5 yards per attempt, and almost 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, which again, the touchdown interception ratio now is still 3-to-1, but higher volume, obviously, and a better rating. And then in the 4 years since then, the volume has gone down and the efficiency hasn't gone up. Usually if we're going to cut the volume, we're going to become hyper efficient. That hasn't happened. And so he now gets another offensive coordinator, and this one, Brew, everybody thinks is an offensive genius. Head coach, mixed results. But you are running, if it looks the way it has looked every year of Herbert's career, flashes of brilliance ending in massive disappointment, you're running out of people to blame, is my reaction.
Well, I was going to say, I wrote down no more excuses.
Sure.
All right, for Justin Herbert. First, it was Brandon Staley.
No, first it was Anthony Lynn.
Before
Anthony Lynn got fired.
Then Brandon Staley with some crazy, wacky moves. And then, he got fired for a reason. Yeah. And then the offensive line being all banged up. And so now...
And Greg Roman. It was Greg Roman's fault.
Yeah,
fire him.
Take the ball out of his hands and stuff. So now with, like you said, a guy that everybody believes in as an OC, and you still have like a great head coach. So McDaniel's not the head coach. You got a great head coach. You've got a great offensive play caller and all the talent in the world. Like, 3 bad playoff games is enough, to where people are, some maybe writing him off or whatever. If and they should make the playoffs next year, and it's a 4th straight bad playoff game without any good ones under Mike McDaniel, then it'll seem like he just doesn't have it in these big moments, which is odd because in regular season big games, he plays fine. Yeah. But in the playoffs, he just is not himself. And so no more excuses. If it doesn't work with McDaniel and you're healthy, then it's like you just don't have it.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. So this will be his 5th OC in 7 years, started 7 years. And with, it's going to be interesting to see if McDaniel goes there, how that's going to fit with Harbaugh. What system are they going to run? Is there going to be a fusion? Is there going to be a learning curve? So that dynamic's got to play out. And the 4 of the 6 years that Herbert's played, he's had double-digit interceptions. And one of the 2 years where he didn't, he missed 4 games. He had 7 picks that year, so he could have had 10 interceptions or double-digit again that year. And when you look at the OC, so maybe Greg Roman was the problem, but Greg Roman with Jim Harbaugh went to the Super Bowl and went to another NFC Championship game, and that was with Kaepernick. So I don't know if you feel that Justin Herbert is more talented, less, well, however you feel, but that's something that he achieved with Jim Harbaugh. So typically, quarterbacks like this, and we talked about this with Stafford, they get offensive coordinators to lead the team, but it's because they're getting head coaching jobs. Mm-hmm. He's not getting fired. And he's gotten so many people fired that at some point it's like, maybe it's you. Maybe it's you.
Are you surprised that Jim Harbaugh picked Mike McDaniel as his offensive coordinator?
I think the meeting room's going to be fun, with those 2 guys. There's going to be a lot of creativity between them. I mean, Jim has only had Greg Roman, so this is his first OC in pro football. Right. Greg was his OC the whole time he was with the 49ers, so it's going to be really interesting to see how that dynamic unfolds.
So that's just real quick on this. Mm-hmm. So that's what I find. Nobody has been a bigger supporter of Justin Herbert than Jim Harbaugh. But I think it's fair to say, and you obviously worked with Jim, Jim had a very close relationship with Greg Roman. You know what I mean? Worked in the 2 places. And it felt to me like, I don't think anybody thought going into that playoff game, man, Greg Roman's done a terrible job this year. I didn't feel that way. It felt to me like that playoff game was so bad and Herbert's performance was so bad that somebody had to fall by the wayside because of it. And Harbaugh picks Roman. I do wonder what that does to the Harbaugh-Herbert bond. That it's like, man, this has been my guy forever. I ended up firing him because what our offense looked like, and now what that. I'm interested in that because last year after their playoff loss, Harbaugh said our whole job is to get up to the level of Justin Herbert, even though he threw 4 picks. This year it felt a little different.
Patriots have never won a playoff game in Denver. Drake Maye saying, I haven't played in Denver in the playoffs yet. That doesn't have anything to do with me. Take a listen.
I know, the altitude is a little different for us and some of the skill players, running around, but I think it's a big thing. It's a different team. It's a new team, what the past is in the past, and I think we're living in the present and not worried about, really anything else. We're worried about Sunday's game and control what we can do as a team that we are this year in the 2025 Patriots.
Coach, you expect Drake to struggle in his first road playoff game?
Yeah, well, let me just put some things out there. So you got the noise, and that's one element. You got the silent count, and then with Denver's defense, so they're number 1 in the league in sacks. We've talked about that before. They're also number 1 in the league in knockdown percentage. So what that means is the throw got off, but they knocked the quarterback down. So they're number 1 in that. Then they're also number 1 in hurries. That means that either the quarterback had to throw it quick or he had to escape from the pocket. So combined, all those 3 things combined, that's 30% of the plays the quarterback is either getting knocked down, sacked, or hurried over the course of the season, which is a problem. Then you add to that the fact that they pressure 28% of the time. So they bring some kind of blitz 28% of the time, which is the 6th highest in the league. Now, all those things can be really problematic, especially for a guy who's being sacked at double the rate in the postseason that he was sacked in the regular season. You add noise, so it's harder for the offensive line to communicate. Yeah, I think there's going to be real challenges for him in this environment. Now, the great news, Wilds, is how he's dealt with pressure. And if we could bring this up, because I was interested to see how well he's responded to when they bring blitzes. And you can see in the regular season, he was at 129.2.
Oh, against
he's
the
gotten
blitz.
better. Yeah, this is truly against the blitz. So, which is going to be about 30% of the time that Denver brings it if they stay. So he's been outstanding against the blitz, which is what is the most encouraging thing to me about Drake Maye and Josh McDaniels going into this game against what they're probably going to see.
Yeah, look, I think he's going to have some bad moments because he's playing a great defense. And like you said, Coach, he's going to be under pressure. I don't think it's going to have much to do with the road. I just think you're facing, this team that gets the pressure on you so much that he'll struggle. But the thing I like about Drake Maye and the thing he's shown in these playoffs is he's countered his bad plays with spectacular plays. Some deep throws, and he's one of the best deep throwers in the league. So I expect him to have overall a good game. He might probably have a turnover, whether it's a fumble, whether it's an interception or whatever. But I'm saying he's going to have 2 touchdowns and a solid game. And I actually think, look, he faced Houston, which was obviously a great defense last week. I kind of think that's prepared him for this week to some degree, just because you're facing another good defense. You just beat one, and now you got to face another. And I also think, Nick,
this team does get to
more
harasses the quarterback 10% more than Houston had over the course of the season.
Yeah. So it's a little better in that regard. And I'm not trying to channel Wilds, but I think him having gone through all these turnovers in these first 2 games,
at least drops too. Yeah,
it can just make him relax him. Like, look, I've done that. We've won. I've gotten criticized for it. I'm fine. And I think he'll be a little looser than maybe he was in his first 2 playoff games, or at least his first one.
So I think if Drake Maye is the most important player on the Patriots this weekend, I think number 2 with a bullet is Will Campbell. And I think where home field advantage can truly matter, and Coach, tell me if I'm out of school on this, is if the Patriots have to go to a silent count, what that means for the get-off on the pass rush for Denver versus how quickly Will Campbell's able to get in his pass block set, that difference, I mean the difference between a quick pressure strip sack and a guy holding up. And I think that is the biggest element, other than a dome team playing, in the snow, the biggest advantage in my experience watching playoff football of being at home is it's not just the crowd noise making it, there might be miscommunications, it's how much that helps the defensive pass rush versus the offensive pass set, and that would be my concern. That would be my concern, because I do think, I think Will Campbell has struggled this postseason. Maybe it's because he's coming off an injury, maybe it's because who they're going up against. But having Nick Panito and Jonathan Cooper coming off each edge, that would concern me greatly.
Yeah, so they're 100% going to have to use a silent count. And that stadium is ridiculously loud. And Seattle's loud. This place is ridiculously loud too. And it's not just that the silent count part of it, but it's getting the plays from the sideline, hearing those, then communicating it in the huddle. Oftentimes that leads to getting out later in the huddle, which means that the play clock gets lower, and then defenders know as the play clock goes down, the ball's got to be snapped. There's not a lot of things you can do. Now, maybe they go no huddle or something like that to try to, get them up to the line of scrimmage and force Denver to declare what they're doing.
Not going to struggle.
Why?
Because he's undefeated on the road. He's best against the blitz, and I don't know if he's best against the blitz, but he's fantastic against the blitz, and he's got the most yards per pass when under pressure since 2018. So his bad games are other guys' great games. I don't think he played well against the Texans at all. He threw 3 touchdowns. And I don't think he played well against the Chargers at all. He threw for 270 yards, and we won by double digits.
KW, might not play well. There's no quarterback in the league who his game against the Chargers or Texans would have been a great game for them. Nobody.
3 touchdowns against the Chargers?
You can't.
Excuse me, against the Texans?
That's not the entirety of his game. There's no quarterback in the league that game would have, no good quarterback, that game against had great moments, but there's no quarterback in the league that has 4 fumbles, 2 lost, and a pick, and when the pick is unlucky, that's fine, but the 2 fumble recoveries are lucky, and that's a great game. And sacked 5 times. That's not a great game.
His struggles are other QB's good games. How about that? Will you take that?
Throughout the regular season, yes. Throughout the playoffs, I don't think that's been the case. I don't think those were good games.
I think
someone else should throw for 3 touchdowns against the Texans.
I think he had good games.
The Texans were an unbelievable defense that I think had won 8 games in a row.
He was under major duress.
Nobody could beat them. Drake Maye came in and threw 3 touchdowns on them. I dropped the ball a few times.
C.J. Stroud looked like...
C.J. Stroud, but we didn't score any point out. Drake Maye did not take any of those turnovers and turn them into points.
No, but the point that I think one of the reasons more veteran quarterbacks didn't have 3 touchdown games against the Texans was because they had the wherewithal to not hold on to the ball and they're like, you know what, hunting this play might end up with the ball on the ground.
How'd that work out for them?
I understand they won the game, and the Patriots. The fact that Drake, in my opinion, Drake Maye has not played well yet this postseason, and they've won both games by double digits, speaks to how great the team has played. But in my opinion, presenting these 2 games as good or great games, I think it's not what I saw.
I said his bad game
would be someone else's good or great games. I disagree.
And I think this could be another opportunity for New England's defense to prove that they're just not a sideshow here. They've been playing pretty well.
They've been playing very well.
Excellent. Okay, what's going on in Buffalo? A odd press conference that brought up more questions than answers next. Tonight on FS1, it's a triple header. Xavier versus Creighton at 7. Then at 9, the Kelsey brothers, Cincinnati, taking on number 1 seed Arizona, actually number 1 ranked. We're not seeding yet.
Exactly.
And then San Diego State versus one of my favorite colleges, Grand Canyon.
Have you ever been to the Grand Canyon?
Yes, not the college though.
It's not overrated. Properly rated, the Grand Canyon.
Well, how is it rated?
It's rated as like, oh my God, you go there and you're stunned, and then you're like, it's just a big hole. No. And then you go there and you're like, oh my God.
Bill's owner Terry Pagula met with the media.
You have to go there.
Yeah,
lots of highlights or lowlights.
Nice for a little.
I got 3 of them before we listen to some sound. Number 1, he fired Sean McDermott because they had hit a ceiling. Classic 2.
Yeah.
Number 2, he insinuated that drafting Keon Coleman was a mistake. Keon is still on the team. Number 3, that mistake was not Brandon Beane's fault. It was the coaching staff's fault, who he had previously fired. Take a listen.
I felt like we hit the proverbial playoff wall year after year. 13 seconds, missed field goals, the catch. I'll address the Keon situation. The coaching staff pushed to draft Keon. I'm not saying Brandon wouldn't have drafted him, but he wasn't his next choice. That was Brandon being a team player and taking advice of his coaching staff.
Your reaction to this press conference?
A bunch, so I'll just very quickly. He also said that he decided to fire him because they lost the game.
Yeah. Also, that was a catch.
And then, but also, he said they lost the game because of the refs. And so if you're Sean McDermott, and listen, Brandon Beane was very adamant and talked about his wife being emotional about people saying, that he stabbed anyone in the back and questioning his character. I'd be upset about that too. What's also true is someone had to tell the owner, that's not my pick, that was McDermott's. And so like him saying, the Pagula being like, hey, just so everybody knows, Sean never wanted the player who, again, is on your team at a position you don't have a lot of guys at. I agreed with Danny yesterday, Brew, that this was the best job opening. This press conference weakened that.
Mind?
Well, yeah, because it's not like I thought this and the Ravens is close enough. And Bisciotti is out there like just wheeling and dealing, and it feels like they know what's going on. I didn't like this. And it's not because I loved it. I just didn't like it.
No, look, I will give him this. He said we hit the proverbial wall year after year in the playoffs. And whether we all think Sean McDermott's a good coach. Nobody thinks he's not a very good coach. But that's true. For various reasons, they did hit that wall. And even though, look, we kind of removed the Chiefs. They shouldn't have lost to the Bengals that year, 27-10. They shouldn't have just lost to Denver. But let's even look at the Chiefs. The owner is saying, we beat them 4 times in the regular season. Why can't we do it in the playoffs? Maybe it's because our defense, which is generally either top 5 or top 12 or something like that, gives up 33 points a game in the playoffs, or at least in our last 6 playoff losses. So I thought that part was legitimate. I was fine with the firing of McDermott. My only issue is keeping Bean because he's, you said it yesterday, Coach, 56, I think, draft picks, and he's got 2 Pro Bowlers since then. And he came in right after McDermott. So they were kind of a team. They came in the same year. And so why'd you keep one? It clearly, there's no question, when you look at the reporting, even when you watch this press conference, that the GM played the political game. And he got in with the owner, and McDermott wasn't. And that's really what this came down to.
I love when owners do press conferences. It's the
gonna
best.
say, I knew it.
It is seriously, it's the best because
It shows what you gotta do.
you get a window into kind of conversations that happen on a regular basis and things that you have to navigate through as you're trying to push things forward in a very sort of organized, structured way, and some of the challenges that can present, and some of the communication gaps that can exist between ownership and coaches. And when you look at this, when Sean came in, I don't know if it was a 15-year drought or an 18-year drought.
18.
It's something like that. And then suddenly they go to the playoffs and they win the division. And then when this ownership group took over the Buffalo Sabres, there's a lot of celebration, the hockey team, and people were excited about it. And I think subsequently now there's a 13-year playoff drought. They fired 5 head coaches and 4 GMs. So maybe let the guys that was doing a pretty good job continue to do a good job, and maybe not make an emotional decision in a moment where it's going to affect the trajectory of your franchise for years to come when you've got an MVP caliber player, and take a step back and let things, the emotion come out of it and make a more informed decision. And then I just say with Bisciotti, you got a good look at him. He's going to hold people accountable. He does. Every week he meets with guys, he holds them accountable, but he's not there every day.
Right.
That's not his thing.
But the other thing, again, if you believe what he said, that they made the decision when he walked in the locker room and saw the devastation.
Well, it's what you said the other day.
Well, if you believe exactly what he said,
and again,
came out of his mouth.
If you believe it,
I believe it.
Yeah, it does speak to, and I was trying to, give me 20 seconds here, Dust. I was not trying to be like I'm a talk show host who wears makeup. I'm not saying that like more manly, than professional football players. So I wasn't like trying to be like alpha male, you shouldn't cry. Right. The reason I focused on the crying part was it was an outward signal that team might be, at least in the moment, broken. And the owner is saying he saw that and felt like we have to make a major change to get over this loss.
Brutal.
That's what the owner's
I think
saying.
if they were in the locker room laughing, that team would be broken.
Well,
the fact that they're crying, to me, shows they actually might have really
But if they were
cared.
locked in, if they're like, man, if people weren't crying.
There's a gap between laughing and crying.
Well, I just think when you fumble the ball away with 16 seconds left and you make other bad decisions and you miss wide open throws and you're supposed to be Superman, it probably really hurts to the point where you're like, I disappointed a lot of people and sending a lot of people on their way.
If you're calling it the catch, which means you thought that you caught the ball, you thought you had done enough to win, and the coach had coached well enough to win, and the refs screwed you over, why does the coach get fired?
Great question.
Live from New York, it's First Things First Overtime. Today, a fresh edition of the coolest statistical segment in all of sports. It's packed stats. The briefcases are still here. Meanwhile, why one person thinks Jarrett Stidham and Drake Maye are on the same level. Okay. And finally, a press conference in Buffalo that may send Brian Daboll to the Titans.
Interesting.
My own theory I kind of floated in there. Alongside Chris Broussard, I'm Kevin Wildsnick, right? Dan Harkins. What?
No.
I mean, the press conference was bad.
No,
kid.
Diana.
Not bad
no
enough
way
to
I'm
not
going to
Diana Rossini's talking about Daboll going to the Titans.
I understand, but that
You
they
would
don't want-
rather coach Josh Allen?
rather be the head coach of Josh Allen or the offensive coordinator reporting to Bobby Saleh.
I'm just kicking it around.
I'm sorry.
Consider it kicked around.
You're not going to get a better job than that if you're Dable.
Then the Bills head coaching job?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's one of the great head coach
I don't
job
know.
openings
What
ever.
is the comp of being fired by the New York Giants, not having another thing on your resume, and then getting head coach of the Buffalo Bills?
Right. With an
He's got
MVP
lots on his
quarterback.
resume. No, but I'm saying that being the sequence that. You understand what I mean?
Danny,
People fall up all the time.
do you think Mike
follow
McDaniel,
them.
this is not in the show, so this is the quick tease question. Okay. Do you think the Eagles having an absence at OC and people are bouncing around avoiding the Eagles is more of a reflection on Sirianni, the organization, or Jalen Hurts?
D, all of the above.
Excellent. Time to start the show.
Well, the
Rams
organization.
Seahawks. This one is Sunday night on Fox. Mike McDaniel met with the media, and here's what he said about the matchup. Take a listen.
They're a really good team, and you know they play hard. They play together. They got really talented players. They got a great scheme. You know, it's a great matchup. So it's right where we should be at this point in the year. It's pretty cool.
Fascinating. Danny, do you see this as the real Super Bowl?
Yes, I do. I think these are the two best teams in the NFL. I think they've been the two best teams in the NFL. I take my top 10 Tuesday responsibilities way too seriously, which is why I was so hurt by the breaking news of John Harbaugh a couple weeks ago that canceled top 10
still
Tuesday.
bitter about this.
I'm just saying. No, but like
Let it go, young man.
I'll let it go eventually. I'll get over it. But no, I've had these two teams as the top two teams in the 7 consecutive weeks, like leading into the playoffs. I said it ahead of the Week 16 game that was going to be the best, Thursday night game. I said that if the Bears were not in the NFC Championship, I wanted it to be a rematch of these two teams. Like, I think it's just pretty obvious that they're the best. We can show some numbers that I think make the case like pretty ironclad. They blow people out more than anyone else. They score more points than anyone else. I don't know what other measurement, and we'll get to it in a second, that you have for it, but they'll both be like a 3 or 4 point favorite over the Patriots. So obviously underdogs win all the time in the Super Bowl. So it's possible, but I just think it's been apparent pretty much all year, wire to wire, that these are the two best teams.
No.
Okay.
This is not the real Super Bowl. The real Super Bowl will happen in a few weeks.
Nailed it. You crushed that, dude.
But you touched on it. No, you touched on it. I'm saying,
I want to say
this question is, you should be ticked off. This is insulting to the Patriots and to the Broncos. And we have seen so many upsets in the NFL Super Bowl that why in the world will we say this is the real Super Bowl?
It's just Danny.
Nobody thought that
Did you not hear
your
about top 10
undefeated Patriots could lose to freaking Eli Manning and the New York Giants.
Very true.
that-
I would have used that example as upside.
And I'm going cross sport. I thought, when I was young like you two, I thought that the Lakers and the Spurs in 2004 in the Western Conference Finals was the real real NBA Finals. Yeah. And it turns out Detroit beat them in 5. And so it is not the real Super Bowl. You never know what will happen in the Super Bowl. And furthermore, I think New England, I think there's an argument that they're right there with the Rams and the Seahawks.
So that's the piece
now,
of it.
Denver, okay, but the
I,
Patriots for sure.
I disagree with you on the last piece. I agree with Danny. These are the two best teams. It doesn't mean there wouldn't be an upset. But the reason I don't use the comp of 07 or I think 04 Western Conference Finals is a great example. Because 07 it was, or the undefeated Patriots, I don't think people looked at. I don't even remember who was that AFC Championship game against. Was it against Phillip Rivers and the Chargers?
I get what you're saying. But there have been several times where you think this conference championship is what it's all about, and then that team loses.
Times that jump out to me, like I remember being a little kid in the 90s, and it felt like Cowboys-Niners on Fox in the conference championship game was the Super Bowl. And it was. and it was. And it wasn't because the other teams on the other side of the bracket were, bad teams. It was just that it felt over the course of the season that these two teams have distinguished themselves. That's how I also felt about the Rams and the Seahawks. The fact that on the other side of the bracket, the other one seed just had their quarterback break his ankle makes it even more so. And so, that is a piece of it. Now, if this feels dismissive of the Patriots, I don't mean it to. I just do. I think that the other proof of concept of the single best game played in the NFL all year arguably was relatively recently between these two teams. And it came down to a 2-point conversion in overtime.
It was the best because it was the best TV product, but that didn't prove to me that the scary Seahawks defense that's given up 460 yards is all of a sudden the best game.
Well, I guess what I would argue is I think we all agree, I think, that the Seahawks do have an excellent defense.
Yes.
And so the fact that the Rams were able to put up that performance against that defense. And we all went into that game saying, is Darnold going to go pumpkin? He did, and then he pulled himself out of it at the end. It just, to me, feels like the whole season's been leading up to this.
I don't think the Rams have looked all season like the best team or the second best team even. Now, they may win the Super Bowl, and I might even pick them, but I'm saying they lost to Carolina and then proved in the playoffs it wasn't a fluke. Like, Carolina almost beat them in the playoffs. They barely beat Chicago last week. I get that Matthew Stafford is great, but they haven't looked anything like a juggernaut for weeks.
No, not like a team getting double-digit victories in the playoffs.
Do you have an example of one?
There is only one.
There's only one. I think also just the strength of schedule piece of it, too, I can't really shake it with the Patriots. And then the Rams have just played the toughest schedule, and it's kind of like the Stafford, Drake Maye MVP argument reflected in these teams. And then we know that Seattle's also been tested a lot in the NFC West. So I just think these teams have been battle tested, and the winner of the game is going to win the Super Bowl.
So if the Patriots win the Super Bowl, are we setting up you know
Had
what?
to go through Jarrett Stidham.
No Charbonnet.
See, can I?
Yeah,
well,
I've seen it happen against the Chargers defense and the Texans. The Texans defense was this unbelievable defense. Drake Maye drops the ball a few times.
Hold on, KW, hold on a second. I feel like you are trying to cause an argument on something that you don't actually in your core feel.
I see it coming down the road.
So two things. One is you're right around 50, right? 47 to 52?
I'd say that I'm 50, but I'm not 50. I feel 50 sometimes, but a young 50.
Is there a single Super Bowl champion in your lifetime that is discredited?
No,
there is not.
I personally, I quietly discredit a few.
Okay, so there isn't. So you don't have to worry about anybody retroactively being like, that wasn't a real, that doesn't happen.
This will be real.
That's first of all. Second,
the Eagles, the field.
The Chiefs over the Eagles. Second of all, you've been on TV talking football too long to where America knows your opinions, to where you can't now all of a sudden act like you feel like 4 fumbles in a game is dropped the ball a couple times. You can't that's not how you.
He's been dropping the ball a few times.
And so that is the people aren't creating straw men about Drake Maye's performance these playoffs when they say he has had moments of excellence and also had more moments of trepidation than at any point in the regular season.
The only thing I'm pushing back against is it feels like when we're previewing the Patriots games, we have people all over the spectrum picking against the Patriots. And then the Patriots win moderately easily. And then it's, but We see shows go across the board Texans, and it's like, yeah, C.J. Stroud, if you had anybody else in there. And it's another excuse. And now it's going to be the same. People are like, watch, this week it'll be Stidham, the defense, the crowd noise, Drake Maye on the road, and then Patriots are going to easily dismantle the Broncos. Like, nah.
But you think they didn't easily beat the Texans.
But so here is what is true.
It was a double-digit victory.
It wasn't an easy victory.
I mean, it took the amazing booty catch to put the game away, despite CJ's 4 turnovers. But
that was a good game.
Here's what I do.
It was a double-digit victory.
It was certainly
It was a double-digit victory by definition.
It was the second easiest win of the weekend. There's no doubt about that.
It wasn't Seahawks 49ers, but it was.
Here is what will happen.
They covered.
Here's what will happen. If you guys make the Super Bowl and get clocked, everything you're worried about will occur. People will discredit your path to the Super Bowl. That will happen. But if you make the and if you lose this weekend, people will discredit your path because you lost Jarrett Stidham. But if you win the Super Bowl, which you think you will, none of it matters. You're the champions, and people call Drake Maye the best player in the league. So it's a big swing here for you the next few weeks, but you just got to win.
I feel okay about that.
Just go win.
Mike McDaniel's eyeing the Chargers OC job.
Yeah.
If he doesn't land a head coaching job, Danny. In the words of Brew, I'm guessing you don't like this. You love it. What impact does this have on Justin Herbert?
A massive one. Listen, my coach and my quarterback are Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, but my second quarterback is Justin Herbert, and Nick will tell you, this is my second coach.
He loves guys like this.
Love him. I mean, Kyle Shanahan said that Mike McDaniel's offense is innovative and that he steals from him. He is one of the truly bright offensive minds in football. He is a guy who had the #1 offense in the sport 2 years ago with Tua, who since basically is the league leader in throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Like, Tua is limited, and Justin Herbert has struggled in the playoffs, but I think we all agree his talent is limitless.
Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle help. It wasn't like...
No question about it. But
the system,
the idea,
and even the running game.
Tua looked terrible before Mike McDaniel got there. Mike McDaniel got there. Tua became a legitimate player for a period of time. Yes, with excellent wide receivers. You guys like when I make guarantees? I'll make some guarantees. An offense with Justin Herbert, Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt, and Mike McDaniel calling the plays. I guarantee will be a top 10 offense in the league next year, and I will be very disappointed if they're not a top 5 offense in the league next year. I expect greatness from this pairing.
Let me ask you a question.
I thought you'd go a little further.
I guarantee there'll be a top 3rd offense. They've got one of the. Danny thinks they have a top 10 all-time talent at quarterback.
Top 10 offense.
I guarantee there'll be a.
Hold on a second.
Top 10.
Wow.
That's not top 5's not enough.
No, I
You said top 10.
Here's what I would like.
Josh, who's the 10th best offense?
Hold on a second.
Here's what I would like. I want to tell you what I would like.
Top 10.
You want a top? You want? Yeah, of course they better be top 10. You think Herbert is a top 5 quarterback? You love Mike McDaniel. They're gonna have their offensive lineman back. Here's a question. But since you just so dismissed Tua, same draft class, similar accomplishments as Herbert. And it's like Herbert's talent, I think you called it limitless. Like
Herbert's talent is limitless.
Okay, got it. The Bradley Cooper movie.
Underrated.
At any point in this pairing, will Herbert do with Mike McDaniel what Tua did? Lead the league in yards and top two in yards and points.
Yeah.
Can they do that?
Sure, they can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, they can do that.
Now that's a guarantee.
The Chargers also have top 5 cap position this year.
22nd pick.
They got 22nd pick. Wilds is coming on board.
I'll guarantee you something.
Have you seen the opponents?
The schedule stuff.
I'm going to give you a real guarantee.
Go.
If your boy doesn't get it done in the playoffs going forward, he will be to blame. It won't be Mike McDaniel. It won't be Jim Harbaugh. It will be Justin Herbert. And I love his talent just like you. And he gets it done in the regular season.
Kind of.
But in the playoffs, he just hasn't. And the excuses are gone.
Well,
the excuses are gone. Great head coach, great offensive play caller. It's on you, Justin.
The actions of Mike McDaniel here seem to back up what I think about Justin Herbert. He could have coordinated Baker Mayfield's offense.
Well, he's better than Baker Mayfield.
Okay. Could have worked with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown and
Devontae
Smith.
That's been a terrible job for people. People get fired there all the time. And big shocker, Mike McDaniel wanted to live back in L.A.
Correct.
You're back on the West Coast. Pretty
sweet, dude.
It seems like a good place to be a millionaire.
All right, I know we have to get to pack stats, but I want Danny to be on the record with something that will just enrage this side of the table.
You're a bully.
If during the interview Mike McDaniel said, listen, I'd love to work with Justin Herbert. I've dreamed of working with a quarterback like this.
Here we go.
However, I'm not interviewing for your offensive coordinator position. I'm interviewing to be your head coach.
Hire him.
And you...
Over Harbaugh?
Would you have fired Harbaugh to hire Mike McDaniel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it. The guy loves his offensive whiskins.
Need a play caller.
He loves his offensive
Modernize your offense. Yeah. Absolutely.
That was what happened.
Before we get to pack stats.
We're
Broncos, Seahawks, Ravens, Broncos, Patriots,
Doesn't
Texans.
matter. They've got They've got Bradley Cooper
That's not
on those
going to work.
pills
But
playing
that's not
quarterback.
going to work. That's why I was nervous about it. Danny is making stats cool.
I got some
And
cool
a
ones
fresh
for you
edition
guys.
of pack stats, aka cool stats.
I got the coolest stats, the coolest briefcase,
Yeah,
the coolest gloves.
Those are sweet gloves.
They are the sweetest gloves. I figured out how to put them on and
Slow
everything.
the segment down a hair.
But they're worth it.
They are worth it. Can I get a close up of the gloves, please? Yeah, I mean, these are the coolest.
Okay.
You guys know what else is cool?
What?
Insurance. It's true. Got to have backup plan. And that's what Jarrett Stidham is. He's a backup plan, but he doesn't need to be that good. This is the Broncos' passer rating this season. The whole thing, 87. That's their passer rating. The lowest ever for a team to win 12 or more games since, I should have said ever, since the 2015 Broncos.
Huh.
That team that was carried, Peyton Manning, obviously. So they got to the 1 seed. They've made it to the AFC Championship game with, in the aggregate, below average quarterback play. That's all Jarrett Stidham needs to do. Have a passer rating of 88.
Yes, I feel like
Isn't his career passer rating is 78?
For Stidham?
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, in a very, very small sample. My point here is, obviously,
I hear you.
They don't need great quarterback play to win. So just play a clean game. That's basically what they've done all year, which got them to the 1 seed.
Yeah, it feels, here's what I would say, and I think everyone would agree on this. There's 4 teams playing this weekend. For 2 of them, the quarterback breaking his ankle, we all would have agreed 100% ends their year. The Rams and the Pats.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for the other 2, the 1 seeds with the great defenses, whose quarterbacks in different ways at various times this year have been excellent and at times struggled, if you had a veteran backup quarterback you trust, you'd be like, maybe they can do just enough, play clean football, and the defense can carry them in Seahawks and Broncos. I do feel that way, even though Bo Nix is coming off, I think, best game of his career.
Sorry, Jimmy G can't win the Super Bowl? I've seen him in the Super Bowl.
Hadn't won, though.
Wow, hey, he's there. That was cool, man.
Thank you. Would you like to know what else is cool?
I would love to.
All right, good. I'm glad you asked. Perseverance is cool. Sometimes you got to overcome a little adversity.
Yeah.
Self-inflicted wounds. That's what Wilds' Patriots have been doing these whole playoffs.
Just because they dropped the ball a couple times?
Well, we'll get to the dropping of the ball. To be sacked 10 or more times, but win each of your first 2 playoff games, Drake Maye and Joe Burrow. But what did Joe Burrow do? He made it to the Super Bowl, had perseverance.
And lost to Matt Stafford and the Rams. Oh, my.
A little bit of a theme. But, Nick, you've been mentioning dropping the ball. That's not good. Quarterbacks with 5 or more turnovers who won their first 2 playoff games. Peyton Manning and Kurt Warner both won the Super Bowl. So they're making mistakes, but winning, it's actually not a terrible sign.
Hold on, let me do something on behalf of my firm KW. Wilds is very upset that Drake Maye is the first player in league history to have an interception on their resume that was an end of half Hail Mary and thinks it shouldn't count.
Oh, we're taking away interceptions that aren't on the quarterback now? Caleb Williams threw 0 this year.
End of
half Hail Mary.
It's an NFL version of the heave rule. It should not count against a shooting percentage. It should be a team interception.
But
I agree.
Whether when you fumble the ball and you're not the one who recovers it, it should be as negative as whether your offensive lineman recovers it or a defensive lineman recovers it. it should, and by that same methodology, they should be considered the same, and they're not. Because fumbles lost is all that count for turnovers.
Right.
So like if there were 4 times in that game he put the ball on the ground, anyone could have gotten it. He only ended up with 3 turnovers in the game. The pick is very unlucky, no doubt about it. But
this was the only legit one that is his fault.
Oh wait, he had 2 picks in the game or 1?
Just 1.
One. No, he had a pick in the one against Chargers. Yeah. So
that was cool, dude.
Thanks, man.
Very cool.
Right. Whenever Brew signs off on the coolness of it, I know it did it. You're gonna like this one too, Brew. You guys know what else is cool?
What?
Thank you, Nick. Deja vu.
It is kind of scary.
It's a glitch in the Matrix, deja vu.
Yeah.
The Legion of Boom is back. What? Yeah. Seahawks points per game allowed against playoff teams, 15.8. Fewest by any team since the 2013 Seahawks. The Legion of Boom. And you say, well, that's just one stat. Yeah. Points per game. There's no way. That's a historic defense. I don't know. Let's put the 2025 Seahawks through 18 games up against one of the greatest defenses of all time. Points. Okay, 2 more a game. That's legit. That's something. Yards, identical.
To the yards are identical to the 10th of a yard?
Correct.
That's pretty good.
Sacks, this team, 2 more. They've allowed 2 more passing touchdowns, and they have the same number of blowout wins. Go Seahawks, Legion of Boom, Part 2.
The Seahawks won the Super Bowl by annihilating Denver. Yeah. We got a lot of. So we have like a Patriots-Rams Super Bowl that's a packed stat too about the sacks. We have a Seahawks.
We consider doing an all callbacks to the last time these teams won the Super Bowl edition of Pack Stats, but maybe next week.
I think the audience probably doesn't.
Danny, that
know
was
about
cool.
The things you considered doing.
Real cool.
I like that. No, I like
It's
it.
probably just for the
You know what's cool?
production.
I'll handle the cool stats.
Yeah, that's right. That was cool, Danny. You got any other cool stuff?
No, those were the 3. Brew, did you like the Legion?
I like
of
it.
Boom
I thought it was cool. All of it.
I love Brew during this segment and all the time.
All right. Coming up next, another cool segment.
I hope so.
Is Jarrett Stidham okay? Can Jarrett Stidham keep up with Drake Maye?
Oh, people are asking the question.
Probably will.
I got some stats for it.
Next.
Welcome back to the OT. We got Willie Colon and Coach Mangini hanging out. We go to Denver. You might have heard Jarrett Stidham. He will be starting his first career playoff game. It's only his 5th start of his career. He's doing it against Drake Maye and the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. It's a bit unusual. But former NFL quarterback and quarterback trainer Jordan Palmer, not a big deal. It's going to be just fine. In fact, it's a fair fight. Take a listen.
They know what they got there. And I think the guys on the team know what they got there. And outside of making predictions in the game, I think if Drake Maye and Jarrett Stidham both play at their best, I don't think it's much different. And I don't really see Jarrett having a floor because the 2 starts that he did have in the Raiders, we can say are irrelevant. But he shredded the he shredded the Chiefs, and then he shredded the Niners, and those are the 2 teams that played in the Super Bowl that year.
All right. People will say the darndest things. That's Jordan Palmer has worked with Jarrett Stidham. Willie, you giving Stidham a chance to keep up with Drake Maye?
I do. I think Sean Payton will have him prepared. I think he will be prepared for the moment. I just try to put myself in the offensive lineman's shoes that will be protecting him. And I think one of the things you look for is how clean of an operation can he run, meaning his cadence, right? That's important. Also, his ability to be on time with the football. And everybody around him, can they get him comfortable fast? Because that's going to be important, especially with the stakes at hand. Nevertheless, man, all we could do is go by what everybody's told us. We haven't seen enough of him to really kind of put our stamp on him. It's going to be a big test, but I think getting him in the rhythm early is going to be crucial.
I would say the strongest endorsement that I can see with him is the fact that when Josh McDaniels went to the Raiders as the head coach, he traded for Jarrett Stidham. So he obviously believed in him, and he's really well regarded in terms of being an offensive coordinator, an offensive mind. And then when Sean Payton had an opportunity, he was a day 1 free agent and went and got Jarrett Stidham.
And explain that, meaning basically free agency opens, sign him on the first day.
Sign him on the first day. So and that's a really good indication of how badly a team wants him, because free agency goes on for a long period of time. You don't want to lose a guy, so you go get him on the first day. So that's another really strong endorsement. And when you hear Sean talk about Stidham, it didn't feel like it was bravado in terms of his confidence in him. It felt like that was truly how he feels about him as a player. Now, we haven't seen him a lot, and obviously this is a giant stage and a giant opportunity.
Yeah.
But anticipating that Denver will be able to create a lot of problems for Drake Maye, and we saw how difficult a job or performance C.J. Stroud had. Let's just start with that. Let's not lose the game for Denver. Let's keep the game clean, and then the things that we do positively after that could be the difference.
So, listen, I like a hot take, right in the business that I'm in. And I understand sticking up for your guy. And I completely agree, like Sean Payton came across as genuinely confident in his guy. But he's his coach. Like, he's supposed to. And their actions of the day one free agency, do you guys not at all see this as a little disrespectful to Drake Maye? Like, what if he would have said, I don't see much of a difference between Jarrett Stidham and Matt Stafford? Or Jarrett Stidham and Josh Allen. It's Drake Maye might win MVP of the league. Like this is exercise in humor here, but come on, to say that he doesn't think
the -1 total did not need to be highlighted.
It felt like a little point of emphasis on the graphic. But like, if they play at their best, I don't think it's much different. Drake Maye's best is arguably the best in football this year.
But you're acting like Sean Payton said this about.
Right, this is Jordan Foreman. By the way, he's known Jarrett since he was 14 years old.
Right, he's coached with him, I understand.
Doesn't he work with him?
And currently works.
Yeah, trained him in the offseason.
Yeah, so it's
another biased observer.
Well, it's like Nick talking about you. Like you have a long-standing relationship.
I like that.
Yeah. He's going to love you up.
So I'm Jarrett Stidham. Yeah, it's fair.
If you were,
talk about your all-time backfires of a graphic. He puts it up. He's
Coach, you could have got that one out the park.
This guy was top 5 radio.
That was clean.
Yeah. No, I get it. I understand.
We all know what I'm talking about.
No, I'm 4th round.
It was perfect.
Listen, I hear you, and he is biased also. It's like, come on. Do we think that he is going to? Because I think I might pick Denver to win. I know what I'm doing in the NFC. I have not yet decided what I'm doing in the AFC. It strikes me as very hard to believe that Jarrett Stidham's best is equal to Drake Maye's best. Like, we don't agree with that, right?
What? Listen, like you said, he's MVP candidate, so it sounds ridiculous. But we just watched the game in Drake Maye where he had trouble holding on to the football, and we saw a defense that got after him. We saw him kind of take some steps backwards and running an operation where, it took kind of a Herculean effort to kind of beat a Texans defense, valid number one.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, man, we expected the MVP to perform, and it took situational football for him to kind of stand up. But he wasn't clean through the whole game.
He's getting sacked 15% of the time in the postseason.
So now you're talking about a leaky left side of the offensive line, a spotty run game. He's like, hey, my guy can bang with him if given a fair opportunity.
And I'll say, again, when Sean Payton came out, when he made the announcement, and he was like, Stiddy's ready for this. I was like, ooh. Stiddy sounds like a nickname of a guy who can sling it. I'm just saying. It did. It came across as genuinely confident.
That's what won you over.
The
nickname.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not his 8 career touchdowns and 8 career interceptions.
Not his -1 pass.
Yeah, it's not his -1 rushing yard this year. Or
he's Georgia and Bama. That doesn't mean
his 0 career pass attempts this season. This year. Let's go to the Rams side of things here. They go to Seattle, of course. They're facing the Seahawks. 3rd meeting of the year. 3rd meeting since mid-November. Last time they met, someone at the desk, I don't remember who, called it the game of the year. It was probably me. Head coach Mike McDaniel spoke today ahead with the Seahawks familiarity, Stafford, the 3rd matchup against them, and what it's going to take. Take a listen.
We have to disrupt timing. It's really the fact of the matter. And we've gotten to him a few times where he's gotten rid of it and thrown the ball away, which have been smart decisions where he hasn't put the ball in danger. So I think there's some good plays that we're putting on tape to be able to affect him.
So that's what Stafford did, the 2 kind of game logs against the Seahawks. You'll notice in Week 16 he had 457 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game that I predicted to be the game of the year. Coach, you expect Stafford to look like the MVP against Seattle's defense?
Yeah, those numbers that you put up there, that was in Seattle.
Yep.
And it's also in the 2 games, it's 5 touchdowns, no picks, and there's been 0 sacks. So they got him to throw the ball away quickly, but they haven't really gotten to him. It's going to be interesting. I always loved playing opponents that we were familiar with, and there's a function of it because you can start at a much higher point from a game plan perspective, and you're gonna be able to hopefully attack different things and present different things. They're going to have to do a really good job of showing him one thing and giving him something else, and not make sure they're not giving anything that's predictable that he can take advantage of.
Yeah, I've been in this position. When I was with the Steelers, man, the year I won a Super Bowl, we had to play the Ravens 3 times. We played the Ravens in the AFC Championship. And I tell you what, going into that game, we felt like we couldn't hide anything from them, right? Like, you talk about a high point. Like everything, I think we tried everything. We've done everything. We played our hardest brand of football. Now it's just about rolling out the ball. And it was a matter of will and really standing up in big-time moments, and we was able to do so. Nevertheless, man, I think from the Rams – going into this game, they just have to start faster and better. Sean McVay and his pressure talked about getting in rhythm. The only way you get in rhythm is being able to sustain drives. You talk about the game against the Panthers, especially the Bears. They had an early score and they fell flat in the first half. The Seahawks are one of the best first half defenses, if not in the whole league. I got a stat right here to defend it. We throw that. This is what they do in the first half against offenses. They pretty much shut them down. They spot you 7 points. They allow you to have 4.2 yards on the ground. And then from then on, they put the clamps on you. So if you're the Rams right now, you're going to have to figure out, if we get an early score, how can we do better than that? Because I think right now, if you're the Rams, you need more production out of Devontae Adams, who had a good game against the Bears. You know Puka's going to be Puka, but you have to put up points. And it's going to be really hard against this defense who pretty much through all 4 quarters show up and punch you in the mouth.
Stafford is incredible, obviously. He's having an amazing season. I just trust Seattle more right now. It's just
they seem like the hotter team.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the blowout against San Francisco, but the Rams almost lose to Carolina in the wild card round, almost lose to the Bears in the divisional round, lose to the Falcons down the stretch of the regular season, lose to the Panthers down the stretch of the regular season. Their defense is kind of falling apart. Like Stafford, I trust. I'm not sure I trust the totality of the Rams right now.
Fellas, he had almost 1,000 yards passing last time they played.
He's very good.
He threw 3 touchdowns and no picks. He hasn't been sacked. That was in Seattle.
Well, this is in Seattle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying, if I'm the Rams, you got to be really confident that you can score, and you can score a lot of points. And even if you do fall behind, you also have to be really comfortable knowing that you can hang a bunch of points on this defense.
Do you think? Yeah, listen, he's the best quarterback in the game. Do you expect this to be a high-scoring game?
No,
yeah, I do.
How?
Because the last was 38-37.
38-30, yeah.
The first one was lower scoring. The last one was 38-37.
Have we not watched the Seahawks these last 2 weeks? I mean, the last week and what they look like, especially that defensive line.
Yeah.
And how they condense the pocket and how pretty much they
but it was against a hospital ward. It was against a hospital ward that had less days to practice coming off an East Coast swing.
I get all facts, can't deny that. But sometimes style and impact matters. And I think the way they played and the brand they played, they seem like they can go the distance with anybody. So I'm not worried about stopping Stafford. I'm worried about this defense really. Listen, I see them having takeaways. I see them erasing Puka off the field. Like, that's how much confidence I have in the Seahawks defense.
Man, yeah, Puka's played very well against them this year in the 2 matchups. The odds makers have the total at 46.5. They thought they needed to tell me that in my ear. I knew it. Come on. Been gambling for 20 years.
The over-under is
46.5. Yeah, exactly.
Over.
Yeah, you got the over, and you got the under.
Yeah.
Good old-fashioned disagreement. Wild press conference in Buffalo today. A lot of dysfunction. We discuss. Thanks for hanging out with us on the OT. We go to Buffalo, where the Bills owner, Terry Pegula, and their general manager, Brandon Beane, they did an end-of-season press conference. And it was a lot. They talked about firing Sean McDermott. They noted the decision was in the locker room after the loss, how that whole scene went down. Also, letting Sean go was the right move over Brandon Beane. There were some questions about that. Also, they put the decision to draft Keon Coleman on the coaching staff, not the front office. Here's the owner.
Where does the leadership of the team on the field and in the locker room, where we go from that moment, which, another playoff failure, and that's why I decided that Sean had to leave.
Terry, how far before the playoff game had you maybe started thinking about this being a possibility?
After the playoff game, in the locker room.
So it wasn't a thought of...
I need to keep saying that. I keep saying it. It was feeling the moment.
Okay. There was a lot there. Coach, you've dealt with ownership very directly in multiple stops, obviously. How dysfunctional did today make the Bills look?
Well, I love when owners do press conferences because it gives you some insight into the challenges that you have, you can have with that situation. And there are so many different things that come up with executives and successes and failures, but they're not immediately acted upon typically, and they're not scrutinized by everybody. And when you look at this ownership group, it seems like they're going to be even more involved now than they were. And remember, the Bills prior to Sean taking over had, a 15, 16, 17-year playoff, some incredible playoff drought. And to put that in perspective, when this group took over the Buffalo Sabres, there was a lot of excitement. But since then, they've got a 14-season playoff drought and an 18-season playoff win drought, okay? And they fired 6 head coaches and 4 GMs. So you went from an organization that has had stability, won, 5 AFC championships in a row, went to the playoffs multiple years, broke a terrible drought that was there in place, and that decision was made in the emotion of a playoff loss, not 2 or 3 days later when all that emotion has been taken out of it, and you really look at it objectively and say, is this the best thing for our billion-dollar corporation and our MVP quarterback? Do we need to make a change, or should we stay the course?
Yeah, it feels impulsive, and I agree with Coach. If you're the owner, you're looking at Josh Allen crying, right? You're looking at multiple guys who really felt like they were destined to win the Super Bowl solely because of Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and all these elite quarterbacks weren't in their way. And then you lose a game where you felt like you should have won, nevertheless. And not only do you fire your head coach, but they also let go of their offensive line coach. Like Aaron Kromer is a damn good offensive line coach. He was a huge part of why they had so much success on the ground with James Cook. And so you talk about dysfunction. You're not only losing Sean McDermott, who I do like, by the way, but you're losing other guys who really who was able to steady the ship during rough times through the season. You was able to come out on the other side. I just don't like, to Coach's point, like a lot of emotions to leave the building, reset. Calculate what you have, then move forward. You still have an MVP quarterback waiting for you. You have a roster right now who is competitive enough to win the division. Like you don't make those moves in that moment. And so it felt like a guy who was more caught up in the moment than everybody who actually played in the damn game.
I was blown away by it today. Because I said before the playoff game that if they lost a high-scoring game that I thought that McDermott could be on the hot seat. So I was not surprised by McDermott's firing because of all of the opportunities in the playoffs and falling short of the ultimate goal. But I never would have thought it was because of that one game. Like they didn't lose that game because of coaching. But they had all of those turnovers.
But he also says in the same press conference that was a catch.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say. Yeah, right. So he doesn't even think they should have lost the game.
Right.
No. But he fired the coach because the team was emotional after a game they lost that they should have won. And also, on Keon Coleman, I know that Bills fans are very frustrated with Keon Coleman and that he has had lapses in focus and all that stuff. He is a very talented player. Like the player, he was the first pick of the second round. Mm-hmm. They talk about him like he was a top 5 pick bust. The guy picked before him, Xavier Legette, a receiver, hasn't been amazing. Guy picked 4 after him, Jalen Polk, a receiver. He has 12 career catches. Keon Coleman caught a touchdown pass in the playoff game 5 days ago. Like he's not a bad player. He's a 22-year-old who has seemingly dealt with
needs to grow up.
Yeah, needs to grow up a little bit. And for them to say no, that pick was on the coaching staff and Twitter to solve that mystery and they debunk that lie within 2 seconds, showing this video from the combine where it was Brandon Beane. Look at this. He goes, I'm glad he ran that. When Keon Coleman ran a 40-yard dash time that underperformed, he goes, it'll help to get him. That's Brandon Beane at the combine months before saying, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
How about the fact that they've made 56 picks since Josh Allen's been there and only 2 have gone to the Pro Bowl, as opposed to the Ravens during that same time period who have 9 picks that went to the Pro Bowl?
I never would have thought that you could have made the idea of coaching Josh Allen not attractive, because it is still a wildly attractive thing, and I do believe that great coach, great quarterback can overcome weird ownership situations.
But my question
it was a rough look today.
But Danny, has great coach, great quarterback already overcome maybe the limiting factor has been ownership?
It's certainly possible.
I just don't know how Brandon Beane escapes all of this. Because he's in charge of the roster, and we sat here and talk about the deficiencies in this roster. Like, I felt like they drastically undervalued Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. They had nobody in line to replace those guys. And when you look at their offense, you said it yourself, it's Jordan and Pippen, right? It's Allen and Cook. But all those guys, if those guys don't show up for the Buffalo Bills, this is a mid-team. We don't even talk about playoffs.
Willie, I can tell you exactly how it is. During the course of the season, as a head coach, you're doing all those jobs that you got to do to get the team ready, right. And that's how your time is spent. And you have very limited interaction with ownership because you allocate time, but the GM talks to them every single day. And every decision, every failure, every success is sculpted by the person he's having conversations with. So if you keep telling someone, hey, we got plenty of talent, we're underachieving, that's where the communication's coming from.
Right. There was seemingly like a power struggle behind the scenes between McDermott and Brandon Beane won. And when you see Pagula's judgment today at that press conference, I'm like, yikes. I did not realize it was quite as dysfunctional as that press conference.
Coaches are always going to see a guy on tape and stand on the table for him. Like, the GM has to believe as well.
That was a wild day in Buffalo.
I said last night, you make your money in the regular season, but in the postseason, legacy, your name, everything.
Time now for First Things Last. You just heard Caleb Williams after his first playoff win. Playoffs are where you make your legacy. Well, we've reached the point of the NFL calendar where one win or even one play can immortalize you forever. Now, we usually talk about legacy through the lens of the quarterback, but I'd argue no one has more at stake for their legacy than Broncos coach Sean Payton. Payton can join a club so exclusive that he'd have no one to talk to if he makes it inside. If he wins this title, Payton becomes the only coach in NFL history to win a Super Bowl with two different franchises. And if he accomplishes it with Jarrett Stidham for the two biggest games of the year, well, he will skyrocket up the all-time coaching ranks. So who are the names we're talking about here? For starters, there are only 14 guys with multiple titles, and 9 are in the Hall of Fame, and Andy Reid and Bill Belichick will go in on their first year of eligibility, plus George Seifert, Mike Shanahan, and Tom Coughlin. And only 7 have even reached the Super Bowl with two different franchises. But if Sean Payton pulls this off with Jarrett Stidham, it's going to go down on the short list of most impressive Super Bowl wins ever. No quarterback has ever started a conference title game with fewer career starts than the 4 that Stidham brings into him Sunday's game against the Patriots. So what would we compare this to? Well, he wouldn't be the biggest underdog in Super Bowl history, but the 07 Giants, 01 Patriots, and 69 Jets, they had guys named Manning and Brady and Namath. For instance, Sean Payton versus Bill Parcells, that becomes a legit debate. Payton already passed the Big Tuna on the all-time wins list, and matching his 2 Super Bowls, but doing so with multiple teams and Jarrett Stidham, I'd give Payton the nod. Would Payton's 2 Super Bowls be more impressive than Bill Walsh's 3? Payton literally has twice as many wins, and 1 with Stidham does seem more impressive than doing 3 with Montana. Again, I think I'd give the nod to Sean Payton. Now, he won't pass Belichick, Reid, Knoll, Landry, or Shula with this title, but every other name becomes a valid debate. It's rare that we're on the precipice of seeing something that has never happened in the history of football, and the odds are stacked against him. But because of that, I'd argue no one has more at stake for their legacy these playoffs than Sean Payton. Thank you so much for being with us on the OT. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a good night.